Okay, so just some ground rules because this is such a controversial topic. Let's not discuss. So we are discussing verified and sensible, how it started, why did we do it, what went on in our heads when we tried to do it, how did this entire thing build up, how did it explode, how is it what it is today, what are the consequences that happened uh, because of verified by sensible. So I have a couple of interesting announcements to make on what is going to happen in the entire broking community because of verified by sensible. That is going to be a lot of fun. And some ground rules. We are talking about the general stock market, what all happens, and etc. We are not discussing about any particular individuals. If you have to complain about somebody scamming or all of that, we can use another forum. You can reach out to me if you have any this thing on my email, and I'll help you take it up with NSE surveillance and regulators and whatnot. Right? Let's keep this nice, keep this civil. Let's not try to talk. I know when we talk about scam, there are certain individuals who are the poster boys and girls and icons of scam, and it's difficult to have a conversation about scam without mentioning certain individuals. But let's try to attempt that, right? Uh, so I'll just give a brief, 5 to 10 minute prelude on what exactly was this verified by sensible thing anyway. Uh, Most of you know it, so I'm pretty sure you don't really need it. But I'm sure there are some individuals in this uh, gathering who might not really know what is happening, and we'll just have an opening note for that. Anup, this space is getting recorded, right?
Yeah. It is getting recorded.
Okay, perfect. So, so as you all know, I'll tell you the story of what had happened, right? So, I think somewhere around last March, April, or May, I realized that Sensible is kind of running on autopilot, and I had nothing to do, right? I mean, I literally, honestly, I'm not proud of this, but luckily for me, the team we got in Sensible was a very nice team who knew how to run this thing without me really doing anything, right? So I'm kind of rubber stamping the whole organization now. The real work is done by several other great people. So somewhere in April, May, I realized that okay, I have a lot of free time. I need to do something. So I thought I'll just go around on Twitter and see what's happening. And I was not active on Twitter till then. I used to do stuff in 2008, 9, 10, and maybe to 10. I don't really remember when I joined, but I used to do time pass around there, and I had some 6K followers, and I generally went inside social media. Now, the interesting, fun, hard truth is I had no idea what kind of stuff went on in Twitter, what kind of scams went on in Twitter, Insta, etc., combined. Right, I had remotely no idea what was happening. So I started following some people, following general conversation, observing what is happening, seeing is there something happening on social media among traders, etc., which I should be aware of. A lot of good content was there, a lot of good people to follow, a lot of good people who were sharing genuine content and who were adding value to the community and teaching people what to do, etc. But there was also a lot of questionable stuff, right? कि लोग दिन के 50 लाख कमा रहे हैं, and they are doing it like um, 3 times a week. And if this is real, then people are like up 5-6 crores in uh, a month, and probably around 100 crores in a year. And even after tax, they are up 60-70 crores in a year. And I'm wondering कि boss ये लोग Twitter में क्या कर रहे हैं? Why are they not in Monte Carlo in a yacht, doing stuff which people do in yachts? But it's astounding, right? And of course, I could not believe that any of this is real, right? I was born with a healthy amount of skepticism in my life, so I was like, यार ये कैसे हो सकता है? This is not true, etc., etc. So I thought, कि okay, there is some scam happening. So of course, I didn't really confront anybody saying that boss ये सब scam है, right? Of course, कोई कमा भी रहा हो 50 लाख per दिन. So I didn't say anything, but there were a lot of people pointing out that okay, this is scam, this is unlikely, this average price is wrong, that holding period is wrong, this stock cannot have this decimal number. And of course, as we all know, this Bank Nifty order surpass the freeze quantity which exchange themselves order,
Hmm.
etc., etc. So 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 somehow somebody said something about, uh, can somebody verify this is scam, why don't brokers verify it, blah blah blah. And at some point it hit me, thanks to whoever pointed me in that direction. So if you are on this space, whoever first put this idea in my head, thank you very much, man. I mean, we are all indebted to you. The whole trading community of India is indebted to you. Of course, it's not me, it's somebody else. I really don't know who it is, because it was just a random spark which happened in a conversation, right? And so we realized that, okay, there are two things, right? The first question you have to obviously ask is, why is no broker doing it? Why has no broker ever done it, right? Because all the brokers had all the data of all the clients in the country I don't know how many years, right? So any broker could have done this. But then I also realized that it is from a broker's point of view, right? So let's say Zerodha alone does it, or Upstocks alone does it, or Angel alone does it, or ICICI Direct alone does it. Obviously, it's a very risky thing to do, right? Because uh, it can go in two ways. One is everybody will love you for it, and more people will join the broker. The other thing, of course, is every scammer bar, furu bar, etc., etc., will leave your broker and go to your competing broker. So, and imagine this, right? Let's say tomorrow, let's say there is a broker called XYZ brokers, or regular Joe broker. Let's say regular Joe broker decides that we are going to verify everyone's P&L. Tomorrow, you could see every person leaving regular Joe broker and going to regular Jane broker, because Jane, as in Jane, not the female of Joe, the English Jane. So they all will go to the regular Jane broker, and they'll just join them, right? So Joe will lose all the business. So from a broker's point of view, it's very scary, because all these guys will leave one broker and go to the other broker. But then we thought, okay, wait, hold on. If we do it, where can anybody go anyway? Because we were lucky enough that Zerodha, Angel, Upstocks, ICICI, IFL, Five Paisa, and probably a couple of more names which are going to come into this thing. They're all tied up with us. So it's not easy for you to leave, let's say, one of these brokers and go do scam some other place, right? So we realized that, okay, if we do this, nobody can do nothing about it, and we can just do it in single shot, right? And unlike brokers who could have a worry that our clients will just leave us, we didn't have that worry, because I mean, come on, let's face it, right? We don't have much to lose anyway, because compared to, let's say, one of the top 10 brokers, we are probably 5% or 10% their size, right? So it doesn't really matter to us. So we thought, okay, chalo, let's do this. We took the gamble, right? And I mean, we literally took the gamble. Even we realized that if we do this, there might be trouble. But of course, none of us expected this would blow up in this way. We all thought, okay, it might just become fun. It might be a side product, a project. I still remember my co-founder Balaji is like, यार ये आदमी फालतू में बैठा था, फिर से आ गया टाइम बर्बाद करने नया प्रोजेक्ट लेके. That is the kind of reaction I got from the team. So but then somehow I convinced one of the PMs, boss, we have to do this. A couple of engineers were also interested. So the way things work in Sensible, it's not like we have a veto ki boss ye karo, ye log kar denge. We have to really convince our engineers and PMs, dude, this is worth doing, let's do it. So people agreed to this. We tried doing it, and then it took us like a few months, and we finally did what we did. And the rest is, as they say, history. You've all seen how it worked out, and etc. Now the good thing is that as we speak, I know that many of our partner brokers are going to do their own verification APIs. Number one, that's one announcement I had to make here. Some non also doing it. Good for them. I am very happy that they are doing it. I'm also raising
Abid
some.
sir,
Yeah,
I'm so sorry to interrupt. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
people
Dude,
are
why are you
saying,
calling me sir? You don't say that
oh
normally.
yeah, फ्लो में निकल गया. वो आपका वॉइस थोड़ा ब्रेक हो रहा है.
Hey, I'm so sorry. So what I'll do is this, right? I was kind of moving around, and my yeah, I think I'll just sit at one place, because I don't sit at one place. I just sit at one place.
हाँ.
Now it should be fine, right? So basically, some of our brokers are doing it. What they're doing is they're going to expose the APIs to verify anybody's uh, history in the past, right? So instead of verifying like. for a day or something, brokers are making APIs that allow periodic verification of somebody's P&L going back 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, etc., etc. Right? So that so now, I mean, as you know, the good thing is that many brokers were earlier skeptical. Is this a good idea or a bad idea? We kind of have made it obvious that it's a very good idea, and retail investors, majority of them, will welcome it with both hands open. So thankfully, this kind of convinced every broker that let's do it. So the good news is that probably you will see a lot more brokers going to implement this in the days to come, and that might just be a very interesting open era of everybody seeing what the uh, trading abilities, or like, let's face it, right? See, for example, right, if somebody asks me, "Ki boss, why are you making sensible? How do you know? How do we know whether you're a good trader or not?" And I should be telling them, boss, you should not be worrying if I'm a good trader or not. You should be worrying if I know how to make a reliable software or not, right? Or for example, if somebody were to ask Anup, "Ki boss, why are you running sensible social media handle? Why don't you just tell us how well you trade?" Anup doesn't have to show ki how well or bad he trades, because it's not his business to trade. But of course, if uh, but if somebody says that I'll teach you how to make money, that person has to know how to trade, right? I mean, there's no two ways about it. Maybe you can make a corner case argument that maybe he's great analyst, he's not good because psychology is something which not everybody comes with. But then ultimately, a person also has to give his followers an idea about psychology too, right? So I mean, I really doubt if there can be a good person who can teach others how to trade. And of course, everything, if it's purely theory or strategies that they are teaching, that's available for free all over the internet, right? And I mean, there's a lot of other stuff which goes along with it, which we'll discuss in some of the questions. But of course, the good thing is that now we might just be headed into a future 3 to 6 months from now, where all the major brokers in India will allow clients the option to share their own equity curve, past performance, portfolio returns, etc., to everybody else if they wish to, right? So that's one thing which I wanted to say about the future. But anyway, this is how this past, present, and future of this verification thing looks like. Of course, when brokers make those APIs, they'll also expose them to us. So we'll kind of end up creating a centralized repository of everybody, so that you don't end up being restricted to your broker alone. So we'll also continue doing this verification thing. Although we really doubt if there's a real need for buy sensible at that point of time. I mean, and like they say, right, if they are not needed, we won't be around, because ultimately it's not part of our core business. It's something we did for fun. A lot of people say that this is some evil marketing genius plot. My God, it's crazy. I had no idea this would blow up like this. But anyway, that was our story. So what I'll do is this, right? I'm gonna generally let some uh, conversation around questions which are coming, and let's see what they are asking, right? So I think I'll just take uh, Pawan's question first. Pawan, I'm one second, let me just um, invite you as a speaker. Pawan,
Or
hey.
Pawan,
Pawan, Aritra, and Naived have given speaker requests, so I've connected all three of you.
yeah, I
Pawan,
think you
yeah,
guys can talk now.
there's a small lag, but after that lag, you should be golden.
I think, Abid, I think people are still facing some audio issues. Like I
Really?
can see the comments.
Okay, I'm
Yeah,
gonna keep my phone on a table and not move from the table, and not put the
I
phone
did
to
the
the.
exact same thing. Like I put the phone on the table, put my earphones and on, and I'm sitting without even touching it, and
Okay,
still there
okay.
seems to be issues.
I'm not gonna touch it. I really doubt why this is happening. Okay.
Pawan, can you talk?
Okay. Anybody? I mean, we invited a bunch of people up. Anyone can talk. So I have four people. We have invited up.
Hey Abid, can I?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, Aditya.
Hey, hi.
Please go ahead.
It's great talking to you, Abid. First of all, I think it was revolutionary to have the verified PNL system here in Sensible, and I also want to say that my wife is also from Ahmedabad. So when I told her about you, I think she was really happy that someone is doing very credible work there. Um, uh,
Thank you, man. Thank you.
and yeah, so I just wanted to, ask you whether you are putting any effort to, bifurcate the positional traders and the intraday traders in the verified sensible, because it becomes a little bit difficult for people to understand, and maybe it misguide people some way, that the people who are showing PNL with a positive, with a positive, on a positive note, maybe they are not actually making that money every day. So I think if you can, clarify it to the people, I think that would make it much more credible. It will increase the credibility of the whole process if you can do that.
Correct. So, Aditya, great question. So, I'll answer that with what you asked for and a few other things which we are doing along with what you asked, right? So, yes, this problem is there. Uh, Basically, somebody who's carrying a fairly large positive MTM. So, let me give you a classic example, right? Let's say I bought Nifty futures at 18,000, right? And Nifty went to 18,000 800. So let's say on every future I'm carrying how much is that, 50 into 800, right? Around around 40,000 rupees, right? uh, so let's say I did some three lots, I make 1.2L. So every day I can show 1.2L. Every time it is at Nifty is at 40 18,000 18,800. Even at 18,700 I can still show uh, a very big number as my PNL. 8,500 I can show lakhs, 400 I can show lakhs. So I'll keep on showing a lot of money, but I have not booked anything, right? So this is what Anitra was pointing out. And finally, let's say Nifty went to 17,900 or 800, and then I stopped out. So basically, I haven't really made any money. So I'll give you one more fun fact, right? Even my case is like that, because in the initial days, I had a lot of unbooked P&L. But I think there was one day in which they all went negative, after which I have hardly doing anything. But net, even I haven't trade, but then I'm not really trading or trading. I'm just putting it out every day to show. Okay, I'm also showing in the verified panel. But again, coming back to it, so yes, this is a problem. And unless you show realized P&L and unrealized P&L separately, right? Unless you show how much profit has been booked, there are there's a possibility that some people might accidentally end up showing more money than they have actually made. There is also a possibility that people can manipulate this, right? Of course, I won't say how to manipulate, because you know that will become another problem. But it's very easily exploitable for somebody who understands how to exploit it. So to counter that, we are going to indeed show realized and unrealized P&L separately, number one. Number two, we are also going to show ROI as a percentage of how much ever funds was available for trading. Both these things we are doing. This is in the pipeline. On top of that, once the brokers, right? So we are in talks with a lot of brokers to also convince them to expose APIs that show two things. One is the overall portfolio P&L for a longer duration. Number one. Number two, equity curve. So equity curve is basically the how your portfolio's value has progressed over time is your equity curves. So this will show you how much money you have added, how much money you have made. So basically, let's say you had 100 rupees, next day you make 20 rupees profit. So now your equity curve will say day one is 100, day two is 120. On day three, if you added 100 rupees extra from your pocket to the trading account, then your equity curve will now show a jump to 220, and it will clearly say that this was funds added, etc. So we are doing the equity curve is of course dependent on brokers. When they'll be ready, we'll be ready too. But even without waiting for that, we'll be splitting um, booked P&L and unbooked P&L very very soon. Aritra, I hope I have answered your question.
Yeah. Obviously, thank you so much, Abid. Thank you.
You're welcome. uh, there are more speakers. So there is a small constraint. When Twitter Spaces get more than 10 people simultaneously up, they will it will just crash the space sometimes. So Anup, can you manage the number of speakers as below let's say around 6 at all times, so that uh, we don't encounter that crash incident. Okay, so once again, let me just look at more requests. Mukesh has a question. Let me admit him. Rohit has asked a question. So now we have one, two, three, four, five, six speakers. So maybe we can rotate Anup. Aritra ko we can make a listener, and if he again has a question, we can bring him up again.
Yeah, sure, you can do that. Thank you.
Hello.
Hi Rohit.
Hello, Abid sir. How are you?
Hey, I'm good man. Please call me Abid, please.
No, sir. I'm just younger than you. I'll be happy to call you Abid sir. That's it.
यार अब तो मतलब एज पे आ गया.
No, no. I think our age is almost same. I'm 36. I think you are 37 or 38 maybe.
Yeah. So let's do first names.
First,
First name is Rohit. I'm Abid. You're
first,
Rohit.
first of all, thank you so much for introducing Sensible and Verified PNL. Thank you so much for introducing it.
Thank you Rohit. Thanks.
Sir, my just question is a little different. I'll prefer to ask in Hindi because my English is not that fluent.
Yeah, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. I can also try to मैं भी थोड़ा
सर मेरे
हिंदी
को
वार्तालाप
अप्रोक्सीमेटली वैसे तो 5-6 इयर्स हो गए हैं ट्रेडिंग करते. मैंने सब कुछ ट्राई किया
Okay.
है, ऑप्शंस, एमसीएक्स एंड ऑल दैट स्टफ. बट राइट नाउ आई एम जस्ट फोकसिंग ऑन ऑप्शंस. Options
Mm-hmm.
maybe after your interview with Mr. Abhishek, जो should not
Uh-huh.
name it. तो मैंने 2-3 बार देख के
Uh-huh.
then I went for that sensible paid service. और बिलीव
Mm-hmm.
मी मैंने जितना मतलब उस अमाउंट से जितना मैंने ऑप्शन स्प्रेड्स को सीखा, आई डोंट थिंक कोई कोर्स
Mm-hmm.
में भी सिखाता होगा. मतलब सिर्फ ट्राई कर
Very happy
करके
to know.
ट्राई कर करके देयर नथिंग एल्स. नाउ माय मेन
Okay.
प्रॉब्लम इज आई ऑलवेज थिंक कि नेकेड ऑप्शंस इज बेटर और ऑप्शन स्प्रेड इज बेटर. बिकॉज ठीक है नेकेड ऑप्शन में हमें डिके जरूर मिलता है बट द रिटर्न आरओआई इज फैंटास्टिक. ऑन द अदर हैंड अगर हम स्प्रेड्स की तरफ जाते हैं, यस अवर लॉस इज रिड्यूस बट द आरओआई इज ऑल्सो रिड्यूस. एंड द अदर हैंड अब होता क्या है, जैसे वी हैव टू वेट फॉर expiry to get the maximum profit that is shown, but we are
Mm-hmm.
not able to capture the maximum profit because market is uncertain. तो कभी एकदम से market में expiry वाले दिन move आ गया या एक दो दिन पहले move आ गया. So I am not able to convince myself कि what should I practice. कभी लगता है कि okay let's try naked options for some time, पर उसके बाद थोड़े टाइम के बाद लगता है नहीं यार naked option is too risky, let's go for spreads. So I am just confused. I want to focus on one thing, but मैं वो कर ही नहीं पा रहा हूँ. And I am not मतलब मेरे को कोई बंदा नहीं मिल रहा जिससे मैं पूछूं. So the first and the last person I am asking this question is to you only.
You don't make it the last person. I'm sure you'll find many more people to ask
No
this
no sir,
question to.
मतलब जो seller है वो कहेगा selling करो, जो buyer है वो कहेगा buying करो, आप दोनों कर रहे हो. एंड बिलीव मी मेरे को ये चीज सबसे अच्छी और सबसे सेफ लगी जो मैं आगे कर सकता हूँ. आई एम जस्ट यूजिंग 1/10 ऑफ माई कैपिटल और मैं कोई रिस्क नहीं ले
Uh-huh.
रहा, कुछ नहीं ले रहा, कोई बर्डन नहीं है, कोई लोन्स नहीं है. तो पर आई वांट टू फोकस, अभी मेरे को आगे लाइफ चलाना है इसको. सो आई वांट टू
Okay.
फोकस ऑन वन थिंग अभी से. तो प्लीज मेरे को 2-3 कुछ ऐसे पॉइंट्स अगर आप बता सके कि आई कैन मेक माई सेल्फ
Okay.
क्लियर कि ऑप्शन नेकेड
Yeah.
करना है या
Yeah.
स्प्रेड करना है. आई होप यू
Yeah.
गोट
Okay.
माई
तो
क्वेश्चन.
या तो मैं आपको एक क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा. आप आप जब नेकेड बोल रहे हो, आर यू टॉकिंग बाइंग और सेलिंग, और आर यू टॉकिंग
No,
बोथ?
no, no, sir. Only option buying. Naked option buying, not selling.
बाइंग. ओके. ओके, सो टेक्निकली राइट, अगर आप बाइंग करते हो, राइट, अगर आपका बड़ा वाला मूव आता है, बहुत बड़ा वाला मूव होता है, तो ऑफ कोर्स आपका आरओआई इज बेटर देन स्प्रेड, राइट.
Yes.
बट अगर छोटा मूव आता है, तो नॉट नेसेसरी दैट योर आरओआई इज बेटर देन स्प्रेड. So that we let's just agree on that key. Only on very huge moves is your ROI better than spread, right? जैसे कि आपने अगर मतलब if you buy weekly options very close to expiry, of course you'll have dhamakedar ROI if it goes up. But if you're playing some monthly option or something, even if you do a debit spread roughly, so think about it this way, right? If you want to do a nifty option monthly, which is near ATM, 200 rupees premium is around 10,000 rupees, right? Your capital deployed, right? And you need at least a 1% move for that option to make any money, right? 180 points types 200 points, which is 1.1%, right? Now अगर आप spread कर रहे हो, तो spread roughly costs you around 25k 30k in margin. So it's, of course, your ROI becomes one third. But you know what comes along with it? Your if you're doing a credit spread, your probability of profit increases. If you're doing a debit spread, your uh, total loss decreases, etc., etc. Right? Now, to answer your question, see, first of all, even in spreads, आपका पहला क्वेश्चन ये होगा कि what should I do, debit spread या credit spread, right? Now,
I mostly prefer credit spreads.
okay,
Debit spread, sorry, debit spread, because I
okay,
focus on risk to rewards.
okay. लेकिन you also understand कि अगर ये debit spread है तो it also needs a big move in your favor to make that money, right? So
Right.
see, the meta is this, right? If you have a system that gives you directional breakout moves, then you have no business doing credit spread. You should only be doing debit spread. क्योंकि RR is better than 1. And जो भी move आपका system बताता है, that move is always a big move, right? But my question is, what is the probability that, of course, such a system exists, but if you have found any system which occasionally gives big moves, then 100% your answer to the question is you should be doing debit spreads, right? But if you largely think that what you are trying to play is a system which primarily works on supports and resistances, right, and not really break out big moves, and if you're playing range, then your system should focus on credit spreads, because जैसे कि अभी let's say we were playing bank nifty 2 3 days back, right? And you said thought ki 17,800 has a huge support for whatever reason, and if you did a spread with 17,800 ka put sell, यार वो उतना आराम से नहीं टूटता वो सपोर्ट, राइट? एंड मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम मोस्ट ऑफ these supports and resistances hold, right? The breakout happens rarely, so most of the times market does range. The unidirectional move is very rare. Even when unidirectional moves happen, if you're playing it with credit spread, आपका पैसा बनेगा, डेबिट स्प्रेड जितना नहीं बनेगा, right? तो probabilistically speaking, most of the time you should be doing a credit spread, right? Honestly, like this is what I think, and also because कि क्रेडिट स्प्रेड में, डेबिट स्प्रेड में यू आर आल्सो ट्राइंग टू टाइम द मार्केट. जैसे कि आपको लगा कि 18,000 से निफ्टी ऊपर जाएगा 18,400, राइट? बट
जी
इफ यू
जी
डिड, एंड आपको लगा कि पक्का 17,800 तो नहीं टूटेगा, राइट?
जी
If you play this game with a debit spread, you have only time till the expiry of the debit spread for you to get that move right. और अगर घूम फिर के इट, सो योर व्यू इज दैट 18,400 कभी ना कभी जाएगा, लेकिन 1700 18,000 नहीं टूटेगा. दिस इज योर व्यू. It will
जी
go to 18,400. It will break eight. It will not break 18,000 for sure. Let's say this is your view, right?
जी
Every time you do a debit spread, you are paying premium, saying that kabhi na kabhi to 18,400 jayega. So let's say in a month you do it like on 4 weekly expiries. First 3 weekly expiries you made nothing. Fourth expiry आपका move आया, right?
जी
On that occasion you will make money, but on all other occasions you will lose money because Nifty वहीं पे रहा घूम फिर के, right? But if you
जी
did a
जी
credit spread, you would have made money on all 4 occasions, right?
जी
So basically आपके सिस्टम पे डिपेंड करता है थोड़ा कि can you time the exact moment at which the big move comes. And in my limited
जी
understanding of breakout systems, it's kind of difficult to predict that. Most of the times you might be just better off doing a debit spread with your, if your market views like forms like this, right? कि यार यहाँ पे जाना है, ये तो नहीं टूटना है. Then I think in the long run, if you do debit spread over a long period of time, you will make much more money probabilistically, is what I think. Does that answer your question?
is this the only reason I when you post your P&L, right? I always look at the positions you have taken and I'll try to crack something if I
No,
get it
no,
out of
dude.
it.
Honestly, I am not trading for serious. Like whatever positions you're seeing in that verified by Sensible, I'm doing. Like I've never seriously traded since 2017 or something. So please don't look at my positions as anything.
Once I saw your positions, you have created a call bull spread, and
Yeah.
you have also created a debit put spread also. मतलब आपने मतलब डेबिट स्प्रेड भी क्रिएट किया था एंड क्रेडिट स्प्रेड भी क्रिएट किया था, तो मुझे वो चीज समझ नहीं आई आपने ऐसे क्यों किया था.
So I'll tell you that that's a good question. I'll tell you the reason why also, right? Credit spread takes away premium every month, every day you hold it because it decays in time value every day. My logic was that कि यार वो DK will take away money from me every day. At least let me fund that DK with the debit spread का क्रेडिट स्प्रेड का. बेसिकली मैं अपना कॉल स्प्रेड का बुल कॉल स्प्रेड का थीटा आई वाज फंडिंग विद द अदर थिंग. But I think I'll take a pause here because this is thoda off topic because it's going into spreads. But please
Sure,
feel
sure.
free to write to me if
No,
you want this. We'll
sure.
take
Thank you
some
so
more
much, sir.
questions on the. No problem, no problem.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
No worries. Uh, there are several speakers who are muted. Anybody can.
Hi, Abid. Can I go next?
Yeah, please, please.
Yeah, hi. My name is Karan, and
Hi, Karan.
hi. Thank you so much for firstly coming live, and I've been a big fan of you.
Hey, thank you
I've
so
been
much.
subscribed with Sensible for 3 years. I watch your market kya lag raha hai every evening that you post. You and Sagar both. You're doing a fabulous job, Abid.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say that first. Secondly, I think verified by Sensible. That's been a great initiative. I think my question is more around that. In terms of what I see is with this and with your other activities as well, which you've been doing. I think you've been trying to change the Indian trading industry, if I were to say that, in terms of bringing more genuineness in it, and taking out people who are trying to fake their PNL and act as fake gurus. I mean, my journey has started around the same time as yours, from 2007. I have paid a lot of service providers like in Indore and Bangalore. I've paid a lot of money to them. I've fallen prey because my education was not as good as yours. So I was from a commerce background, trying to get into trading, stuff like that. So it was very easy for them to fool me and get money out of me. It's been tough, and I'm glad that someone like you has taken a stand to correct that, and so that any youngster nowadays, with not that same kind of education background, doesn't fall prey to it. So Abid, my question is, like, how far you think we can go in cleaning the system, one, and two, are you forcing any kind of challenges? Because what I see is these fake people have actually become really strong in this industry, in terms of money power. And do you see any hindrances or nuisance that they may create in this beautiful journey? This is my question.
Okay, so thanks, Karan. So, Karan, first of all, right, I don't think education has anything to do with how good people are in trade as stock markets, because, like, I've seen a lot of my classmates not really particularly doing well in stock markets. Uh, I think that should not be a concern at all when somebody is trying to make money on stocks. And to answer your question, see, the thing is this, right? So, this is a good question in the sense that what will these people do, where are they headed and all, right? So there are two parts to this question. One is, see, this will never stop. Okay, let's put it out up front, right? See, again, we did not think that we wanted to clean up India's trading industry. Our objective function was not that ki boss will aag laga denge, because nobody can predict those things, right? We thought, okay, there is somebody doing it. So I'll tell you what exactly went on in my head also when we started this, right? I am not the only person who did exposures, right? There are a lot of other people who the fake gang calls them trolls and whatnot. I would like to correct that. I would call them vigilantes. They're just people who have no benefit out of it, but they are doing it because somebody has to do it, right? And every time they said ki, these people are faking or these people are doing scam, obviously those people, the ones who are faking obviously said they are jealous, they don't have money, they don't have their lifestyle. Look at it, I have like a Porsche 911, that person has a Maruti, therefore don't listen to him. That's stupid, right? And but that's what all these gurus were doing. So I thought ki, okay, at least if Sensible criticizes this, right, and we take a stand against it, at least they're not going to say, okay, this person is doing it because he does not know trading, this person is doing it because he does not have money, this person is doing it uh, because he is jealous or blah blah blah. Those arguments will thoda, so I realized that, okay, there is a chance we have that we can create an impact without nobody really questioning our motives. Because if X says that Y is fraud, Y could always say X is also trying to get into my business. But if we say that, okay, listen, X is fraud, nobody can say that, अच्छा ये आदमी भी tips बेचता है इसके लिए, blah blah, right? So I thought, okay, चलो, let me take a stand. But and then all of this happened, and I of course could not predict that this would be at this scale. But what I've also realized is that यार ये चलता रहेगा, right? It is never going to stop कि आप कुछ भी कर लो, because Twitter is a bi-directional platform. You are accountable for whatever you say in Twitter. You say something wrong, people are going to react to it, right? And people are going to say something against it, right? But uh, uh, in Instagram, in Facebook, in YouTube, etc., yeah, you can simply delete comments. That way they are all I don't like these platforms because they're not truly interactive platform. They're not dialogues. They're just one person holding a mic and saying कि boss देखो मैं कुछ बोल रहा हूँ तुम लोग बस सुनो चुप रहो, right? And let's say somebody says something very wrong in Twitter, there's a lot of backlash against that people, somebody against that person. Somebody shares an obviously fake screenshot on Twitter, everybody will call him out, right? And they'll comment and post and all that. But अगर आप YouTube चल लो, आप कुछ गलत काम कर लो, थोड़ा टाइम बाद YouTube वीडियो उड़ा दो, कोई नहीं जानेगा. Or in some video you can say something very wrong, and then there'll be both opinions, right? People will say this is right, people will say wrong. After some time you can go and delete all the comments. So what this effectively has done is that a lot of people who are doing this, cheating people business have gone to platforms which are one-way traffic. So, for example, Telegram groups, because you can't say anything in a Telegram group, right? आप बस broadcast करो, कोई कुछ बोल नहीं सकता, आप बस सुनो. Similarly, YouTube comment करो, comment delete कर देंगे. Similarly, Instagram, Facebook, etc. So, to answer your question, no, this won't stop because there are always going to be unidirectional platforms जहाँ पे you can say whatever you want and get away, right? And unfortunately, as long as these unidirectional platforms continue, people are going to get scammed. The second thing, of course, is see, okay, so let me say something very interesting, right? So I was talking about a lot of lifestyle scams in my early days of Twitter, and a lot of people thought they were talking about I was talking about them, but I was not talking about them. So like there were a lot of comments about cars and whatnot, and that's a real life story, right? So the person who has rented our office in Bangalore, so he's a young person, very smart guy, runs his own business, nice guy. So one day, and there's another person who runs a slightly scammy business next to our office in Bangalore, right? And that person has five supercars, right? And by supercars, I don't mean your average Benz or an average Audi. I mean proper supercars, right? Real legit supercars, right? And this person shows all his five supercars and sells his courses. And my friend who had rented out the office space to us, and he's also like an entrepreneur. He's a builder. He does, I mean, loaded with money. Comes from money, all of that. But he one day comes to me and says, "Ki boss, I'm joining this person's training," and I'm like, "You." So he's like, dude, he tells me he'll teach me how to make 3,000 rupees every day from Bank Nifty one lot. I kid you not. His pitch is that he'll teach you how to make 3,000 rupees guaranteed every day from Bank Nifty one lot. Right? And I asked him, Ki, Acha, how much money is this thing charging you? So he's like 80,000 rupees for a 3 month course. So then I asked him, okay, how much is this car worth which he has? He said around 1.5 crores. I'm like, okay, 200 people is 1.5 crores. Why? तुम्हारे जैसे 200 लोग मिलेंगे उसका तो कार आ जाएगा. फिर वो कार देख के he'll show, दिखा के he'll show more people his car and get more courses, right? Now, my problem is this is a 30-year-old smart guy coming from money, running multiple businesses, seeing a fancy car and thinking that the other person, the guru in question, so forget about it, right? Forget guru. I don't think anybody on earth can promise you how to make 3,000 rupees from a lot of Bank Nifty every day. But he fell for it, right? So as long as there are people who are going to believe this kind of stuff without really doing due diligence, it will happen. As long as there are people who are very desperate to make money, this will happen. Like I'll give you another classic example, right? So there are a lot of terminal diseases, right? And there are very bad diseases. I'll give you a classic example, right? Let's look at our own male condition. Loss of hair loss, big problem, right? So, and I don't think modern medicine has any answer to hair loss through internal medicine. Of course, hair weaving and all is there, but uh, यार कि अगर किसी आदमी का बाल झड़ रहा है, right? Or let's look at something else which is a source of insecurity, right? Some of us are overweight, right? And because of the way society is structured, we are all very cautious about, oh my god, I'm like 10 kilos overweight, kya hoga mera, right? All of us have been through that, right? So if somebody comes and says ki boss ye goli kha lo 500 रुपए or 1000 रुपए or something, and you're going to lose weight because of that, right? Or grow hair because of that, right? Very very high chance that somebody truly desperate enough will think कि यार 1000 रुपए ये यार try कर लेता हूँ क्या पता कुछ बदल जाए. And if you look at the entire scamming industry also, right? See, scamming industry ultimately says कि boss 4000 रुपए में एक कोर्स है आप ले लो. Most people will think कि boss देखो 4000 रुपए is what 80 points on Nifty One Future, right? वो तो मैं ऐसे ही मतलब हर दिन मेरा जाता है उसमें क्या है. एक बार ट्राई कर लेता हूँ यार शायद ये बंदा अच्छा निकले. व्हाट इफ दिस गाय रियली नोस व्हाट ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट. व्हाट इफ ही मेक्स मनी. एंड ऑल दैट द स्कैमर हैज टू डू इज टेक सम 25 टेस्टिमोनियल्स एंड से ओके देखो मेरे शिष्य लोग क्या बोल रहे हैं इनके तो छाप गए लाइफ बदल गया ब्ला ब्ला ब्ला. एंड people will buy it, right? Because they are really really desperate to make money, just like that person is really desperate to grow hair, just like that person is really desperate to become a normal weight. This person is also thinking boss I really need to make some money, I have to change my life, I have to give a better future to my parents or kids or wife or husband or whoever. And this person is desperately thinking okay what if I spend this 4000 rupees and this thing really works, let me try that. So a lot of people join these groups in that hope. And I don't think as long as this analysis is intact, right, that shayad 4000 रुपए से मेरा life बदल जाए, this is going to happen. It doesn't matter how many times you prove it, it doesn't matter how many times you expose it, it does not matter, right? Because when we launched verified by, so I'll give you a classic example. One of my family members is a part of one of these telegram groups, right? And I told the dude कि boss देखो ये scam है, right? And he told me कि नहीं scam नहीं है, सब पैसे बनाते हैं real legit. So I said, okay, after verified by Sensible, if that person who runs the Telegram group shares money, I'll believe you. I mean, shares the PNL, I will believe you, right? And my family member said, ki, okay, fine, right? And we launched verified by PNL. The person in question who was running the group used to show PNL every day, right? Every day before verified by Sensible. But after that, this person has shared PNL zero times, right? Precisely zero times since November 24th, right? And I am asking him कि bro अब क्या हुआ. And fun part is my family member is still a member of that group. I'm like क्यों क्या हुआ. He's like नहीं नहीं वो चलता है बस I know I वो आस्था है विश्वास. I'm like dude this is crazy, right? Because a person who used to show PNL for every day before November 24th has not shared the PNL even once after November 24th. And the person who used to follow that person is still in the group thinking कि यार शायद कुछ बदल जाए कुछ input मिल जाए एक बड़ा trade. So to answer your question Karan, after seeing all this, I really don't think this will go away. Some smart people will realize that all of this is fraud and they'll stop following this. There'll be a lot of awareness, but this will continue on Insta, this will continue on Facebook, this will continue on Telegram. Even now, a lot of people will still continue being part of these groups. We will end up creating awareness and educating some people and saving some people, but not all people, right? But then that's the part I like, right? Because if you've seen the movie Justice League, there's a scene in which Batman and this Flash are standing together, and Flash tells Batman before starting an encounter that dude, listen, I don't know how to fight people, I don't know how to do any of this. Can you tell me what to do? So Batman tells Flash, just say one person, and Flash asks Batman after that, what do I do? And Batman says, keep doing that over and over again, right? So, in a sense, we have made peace with this, that we are going to try to do as much as we can. Nobody can save the whole world. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to lose money and continue being victims of this scam. But unfortunately, that's how the world is. So, we are making this peace. And to answer your last question, have we had any hindrances from these guys? Um, yes and no. A lot of people try to run a lot of smear campaign against us. I don't know why they did that, because if somebody was going to make things transparent, if somebody says ki ye log chor hai, it's only going to fire back against them, right? Because let's face it, right? Anybody who protests against something always casts a primary shadow on doubt on themselves, because why are they doing it? So that way, yes, a lot of people did try to smear us, protest against us, try to spread misinformation. uh, I've even like it's funny, like there's so many baseless things, like people have misrepresented our company's financials. People have even sent mails to a lot of people associated with the company saying your company is doing bad, and I'm like, okay, that is news to us. But then those things don't stick, right? Because largely I realized that, see, for every person who's trying to scam, there are a lot of good people who are well-meaning people. Like, one of my biggest learnings after starting Sensible is that the regular normal person is a really nice guy, right? And if you are a nice person who tries to do something good, the regular nice person will always support you. It's not like the mob is apathetic or the crowd is fickle or anything. The truth is that a lot of people among crowd, it's just that the crowd largely needs somebody to stand up first, and once somebody stands up first, everybody will stand up together, and that's what I have learned from this. So no, the answer to your question is, although they have tried all these scamsters, furus, and whatnot, nothing has really affected us, thankfully. Touchwood. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Karan.
Thank you so much, Abid. For giving that insight. And or just to close it, I would just say that I now follow hashtag verified by Sensible to see the genuine trades, and I genuinely believe that you are one of the few in the system who really work for the retail traders and you really work to protect them. So thank you so much, and for all the good work that you're doing on behalf of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Karan. Thanks a lot. Also, I consider myself a retail trader, so I'm just so just watching out for my own. So
Yeah.
Yeah, hi Abhi.
hey,
Hi
Anubhav.
everybody. Yeah, hi. So, good evening everybody. So, first wanted to congratulate you for that verified PNL, not for intraday, and you are coming with a positional one, which I feel is very important because I have seen people in Twitter, they share their PNL one day and next 3 days they don't share. So, one day they have profit, they don't share it. So, as you are coming with a verified PNL for positional or a period of time, I think that would be a far better, way to judge a person whether he's profitable or not. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
I have Thank you. I have recently seen Zerodha has stopped 60 days challenge, which is pretty much similar. Like traders who have been, whether they are profitable even 1 rupee or not for consecutive 3 months. But recently, from 1st January, they have stopped it by saying there are some SEBI regulation for gamification. So just wanted to know, do you see any challenge in future from regulator side or anyone to show this PNL
Yeah,
in social
that's a
media?
very very nice question. That's a
Yeah,
question which also makes us wonder. But you can please complete the question, Anubhav. Is there a second
yeah,
part
yeah.
to that?
Because because I think this is very much required. Like this motivates regular trader. Not motivates the regular trader to not for boasting or showing in social media, just to track their own performance. And number two, everybody knows to get rid of the fools who are falsifying their statements. So I am very much in support of this verified PNL. So that's from that angle I wanted to know whether there is any challenge. And I do have a second question. Kindly answer the first one. I will come
Please,
to the
please.
second.
Uh, okay, you can post it if you want right now. Also, that's fine. But okay, let me answer the first question. Right. So okay, there is something called the spirit of law, and then there's a letter of law. By law, I mean SEBI regulations. So the spirit of SEBI regulations generally is that, and I've done a lot of work with SEBI directly and indirectly in the past. And the general, and I'll tell you one thing, right? So, yeah, SEBI is one of those regulators which really cares for retail investors, and I'm talking from personal experience because long time back I was on a committee which was supposed to write the first policy in India for equity crowdfunding, right? And the same committee was looking at peer-to-peer lending, and we are also on an AF Cat 3 ka uh, tax restructuring, and I mean 3 4 committees, right? And all through the interaction, I realized one thing, that SEBI is actually out there to protect retail investors, even if it means some inefficiencies. They'll still always go with, because we proposed long time back that we should probably allow equity crowdfunding in India. We also proposed long time back that there should be P2P lending in India. But now that I look back at it, and because this was 2014 when I was working with them, and I had no idea what's the kind of scam which happens in the country, right? And when I said, "Ki, let's allow equity crowdfunding just like Kickstarter in the US, in India," then SEBI chairman, or was it the full time mentor, told me, "Ki यार देखो बेटा, you are very young. This is a country where Peerless and Sharda scam and all happened. Sahara happened, so you don't know what happens really. If you start equity crowdfunding, people will come up with all sorts of nonsensical product ideas and scam people, showing this is the next Facebook or something. And I know this is in good spirit. So the spirit that SEBI says in terms of not allowing competitions is SEBI does not really want to induce a person to trade. So the spirit of the law, like, or the guiding principle that SEBI has, is that I don't want somebody to be induced to trading for whatever reason. Like if a person genuinely wants to trade, if that person's objective is to trade, and that person wants to punch in an order out of his own volition, yes, let him do that. But if there is something else which is inducing a person to trade, then probably it's not good for the person, is what SEBI's internal view is, right? Now, a famous case of this was some time back. There was something called India Trading League, or Indian Trading League, or something, which was run by, I think, Samco, I think, right? I think it was Samco. And Kapil Dev used to be a brand ambassador and whatnot, and it was like an open competition among traders, and the winner used to get a crore or something. That was the deal, right? And SEBI actually went to High Court. There was a case, SEBI versus these guys, in which the ruling judgment was that, boss, nothing doing, no gamification. This contest will make people trade, and to win this contest, people might take disproportionate risks. Because ultimately a crore is on the offer, and that might not be good for the financial health of the individual. Therefore, let's not do that. Now, with this principle in picture, right, rather in place, when SEBI looks at any kind of leaderboard, and this I know because NSE also told me the same thing. Because when we launched long time back social trading, and we don't have it now because we decided to respect the regulation and pull out of the space, also because we didn't get any good social traders. But that's a different story. uh, we had talked to NSE, SEBI, etc. about all of this, and their internal communication was कि boss देखो, if you are putting any kind of contest or leaderboard or anything with a win loss scenario, a person might want to trade, and that's not a good thing if that person does not know how to trade. Therefore, let us take the spirit of competition out of trading. Now, you can argue it both ways, right? I can't say if it is right or wrong. Probably as a regulator, they are erring on the side of caution. A regulator always has to think of the most vulnerable people first, the lowest common denominator first. You can't make regulations for the top 1% of the population, right? So maybe if you make it for like a very elite select class of traders, it's a great thing. All of them know how to manage the risk well. But if you're going to expose a lot of people to a contest with financial incentives at the end in which they have to trade, maybe it's not a good idea. That's why they took this stand. Now, is 60 days challenge such a thing or not? That's very gray if you ask me. Because the way I look at it, 60-day challenge is not really a contest or a leaderboard. People are not competing to be better than the other person. There's no target you're achieving. There's no inducement to trade. But for whatever reason, if the exchange and regulators have perceived it as a contest, uh, probably it's better to respect that, and which is, I think, probably why Zerodha did what they did. Um, Again, coming back to your question, will verified P&L be sensible looked at in the same lens? So I am not sure how a P&L verification is going to induce a person to trade, for the simple reason that uh, so okay, before that I'll tell you it induces me to trade, right? Because I just want to,
Abid,
yeah,
I'm
sorry.
so sorry to interrupt again. Like people are again facing audio issues.
Really? Okay, that's strange
Yeah,
here. I'm not moving at all.
I have
Is
no idea.
everybody facing audio issues or not? We can't
No,
figure
you
that out,
are
right?
clear to me.
So,
Yeah,
so
so the thing is, some people are facing like a few people, and
yeah,
the
so
tweets are
Anup,
coming out.
that could happen because of local internet issues. Because even if there is one person
Maybe.
at the other end who is hearing it clearly, then this end is working correctly, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
maybe if
yeah,
a lot of people say it, we can look into it, right? Because this happens with my YouTube also. Some people
yeah,
say that okay, audio. So, but anyway, so to answer
yeah.
your question, does verified P&L induce a person to trade? Uh, but you have already did the trade. You're only verifying after, right? So I'm not sure if this is an inducement to trade verified P&L thing, right? And if a person's last 5 year history as an equity curve is being shown, I जो trade करना था वो trade तो already हो गया. It's a past thing. So I don't really think that this verified P&L I don't really think that just because a person is asked to verify the P&L, that person is being induced to trade, because that person has already traded. It is post facto, not pre facto. So no, I don't think we, at least as of now, how our interpretation of law stands, I don't think it induces anybody to trade. Of course, it induces me to trade. That's a different story, because I'm just making that as an excuse to do some, alliance to my gambling problem. But to answer your question, I don't think there's a regulatory issue around here. If there was, we would have known by now, because SEBI is aware of verified. I mean, I think regulators, NSE, everybody is aware. We are in constant touch with everybody. Nobody has really raised a flag saying that you can't do this. Of course, if you put a leaderboard of people whose verification P&L, then NSE will object, because that they have been very clear ki no leaderboards whatsoever. So probably we won't do that unless we have an explicit exchange approval. But to answer your question, no, there's nothing regulatory blocking it. If that answers your first question, we can take your second. And
Yeah,
Leo
yeah.
also wants to speak. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, but just to bring your attention that I am not quite sure how much SEBI is against trading or the government itself, because they have kept the LTCG, I mean, long-term capital gain tax only 15% and short-term is 10%. So the gap is very low. So I really doubt how much they are willing to, restrict people from trading rather than motivate to trading, because it's a income to exchange and everybody. But that's a different question. So
I wouldn't be. I wouldn't know, man. I'm not in a like. I'm not aware enough about these things to comment on that. But I'll tell you one more answer, right? So many people say that government is allowing option trading, etc., to continue for the sake of tax. I don't think that is true, because we did do an estimation of how much STT the all of options trading in India brings, and at that point it was under some 10k crores or something, which is hardly anything, right? I mean, for if you look at India's overall budget, yeah, I think India used to borrow 20,000 crore every week from G6, even like when I started trading G6 in 2009. So I don't think government is letting it continue for the sake of money. I'm pretty sure government is not letting retail investors do option trading for the sake of taxes, because the taxes which come from this is really really tiny, right? But yeah, I mean, like, under 20,000 crore is nothing in India's budget, right? It's a small drop in the ocean. So I don't think tax is the reason why. I think it's also because, see, like in politics, right, there is a principle called a paternalistic state, right? Like you cannot be, like, if you are a paternalistic state. So think about it this way, right? So if you ask me, smoking is a really bad thing. Should smoking be banned? Probably yes, but then you also, it's a very gray area, right? Like sometimes you have to learn, let people make their own mistakes and learn from it. The moment you criminalize something or illegalize something, there's a whole bunch of other problems that come with it, right? People might start dabba, people might start betting on horse races and cricket matches and whatnot. So I don't think the government's reason for not banning options or something is because of tax. I think they are just following the principle of a paternalistic state, where the state doesn't want to see take an explicit stance that okay, this is not right, thou shall not do this, right? That's like a bad case of parenting, even, I would say. So I think that's the reason, man. I don't think it's about taxes.
yeah, yeah, I mean, I am not in favor of a banning option. I do it regularly, and for last 3 years, I've been it's very good. I'm moreover in the long-term capital gain tax, because only the difference is 5%, 10% and 5%, and many people are asking in the budget to remove the long-term capital gain tax also, right? So, but let's not go to that, because we are in a different topic. So, thank you very much for answering the first question. And the
No
second
problem.
question is, yeah, I just wanted to know, like, when, let's say Zerodha, when we try to authorize it sensible, there is a line called place, modify, and cancel orders. So what
Correct.
I feel like it make people skeptical to use the product sensible, because they might say, okay, why someone would like to modify or cancel my order or place order on behalf of me? So if
Correct.
you can throw some light on that area, whether
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is
this is
really
the,
possible.
yeah.
I believe Sensible has no business to modify
No, no,
anyone's
we
place
don't,
order.
so
Yeah,
that's
maybe.
unfortunate.
Yeah,
Yeah, so the reason for that is, right, when you as an individual log into Sensible interface and modify an order or place an order, technically Sensible is taking your order, and then Sensible is passing the order to Zerodha, right? So although it is you manually doing it and we don't have any kind of auto execution logic, when Zerodha's API interface looks at it, Sensible is giving an order to Zerodha, and Zerodha does not necessarily know ki did it come from you or did it come from your friend or some algo or something. All that Zerodha understands is okay, Sensible is passing an order to us. And most likely, if your 2FA is not compromised, etc., it is coming from you indeed, right? And 100% times it is coming from you, right? But the legal requirement is that we write that clause in that way, saying that you're authorizing Sensible to place trades on your behalf, because that is the authorization we need so that you can go to our basket order page and place order. So when you go to our basket order page and manually hit place order, in front of the API interface of Zerodha or Exchange or whoever, it's like Sensible is passing you a trade. So Sensible needs the authorization to pass your trade which you manually entered to Zerodha, right? So that's why we have that line, but uh, we don't trade anything without. The only way in which you can trade from Sensible is manually.
Sure, sure. Thanks for clarifying. So
No
I'm
worries.
done. Please allow other. Thank you.
Leo wanted to ask. Leo
Yeah,
has been turning his
I'll,
mic.
yeah,
Abid, before Leo can ask, Leo, I'm so sorry to interrupt. So we actually, I think we sort of figured out what the issue is, the audio issues which some people are facing. So it seems to be an issue from the Twitter's end. I would request people to log in from their laptop or desktop to see, because we've been trying to reach out to some people who are facing these issues, and they're like it's working really well on the laptops and desktops. So if you can switch, then maybe you will not be facing the issue. या
Very nice.
लियो
ये कब कर लिया?
ये साइड में हमारी टीम है ना सर,
good,
40 लोगों की.
good,
या
good
Yeah,
evening. Good evening, Mr.
Abhijit,
Abid.
one more.
Hey, is that your real name, Leo?
You can say in a way, Singh. I am from Punjab.
Okay, okay,
Okay, no. So basically, my surname is Singh. So,
okay.
so first of all, congratulations for introducing not only the verified PNL but many other new features in the Sensible in the last 3 months, like
Thank you.
histograms of OI on the payoff graphs itself and many other features. So, sir, my question is, all the queries regarding the verified PNL have already been answered by you in the previous questions. So, I just want to go for the execution part of the Sensible. I trade
Okay,
99, in fact, 100% of my trades through Sensible only. I go
okay.
for the strategies, then place the order. But the real issue is with the quantity size. So, there's a freeze of 900 for the Bank Nifty. And if I have to trade 2700 quantity, I have to go in and 900 quantity, three windows I have to open and then manually click all on them, one after other. So
Correct.
I just want if this cloning of order or something iceberg order. So
Yeah, we are already doing it. We started doing it. We basically are doing a uh, order slicing. So basically, you will see multiple slices of order together in the same window.
right.
It should take around a couple of weeks or 4 weeks or something, but this is being done. So you won't have to open multiple windows.
Okay.
We'll slice. So let's say you are going to put uh, uh, 18,000 quantity of Nifty, which I hope you don't
No,
because
no, no,
it's a lot of.
not this one.
But if you are
At
doing
the
it,
max is
we'll open like yeah, we'll open like 10 boxes inside one window where you can enter each slice one by one.
okay. So
So,
then that will be fine. Any
okay.
timeline for that?
So I really have to. So see, the thing is this, right? My engineering team has really threatened me, asking me not to give timelines on
Okay.
media. So
Okay.
I'm going to stay away from that.
So, anyways, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks a lot.
No worries. I think Sharad has requested for a long time. One second, let me just. Uh,
Yeah, Abhijit, Anirban here. You can remove me from speaker so that others
yeah,
can
we can do it.
speak.
Anup, can
Yeah,
you?
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
one last thing, Abhijit. I mean,
Yeah,
if you can come YouTube live every day in a fixed time, it would be good for everyone to follow. Just a
I
humble
have been
request.
trying to do that for the last 2 years,
Yeah.
my friend. But let me do. Okay, I'm going to legit. Anup, now that
Huh,
you are in charge of our YouTube, can you like Dande Marke make me do it every day at 9 o'clock?
done.
Okay, okay, we'll do
300
that.
people are proof to it. So,
Yeah,
Hi,
like public. Please blame Anup
yeah.
if it
hi,
doesn't
how
happen.
are you?
Oh,
Hi, Sharat.
Uh, First of all, kudos, thanks a million for getting all the nonsense out of Twitter.
Thank you,
A
Sharat.
lady was posting 67 lakh profit, 30 lakh loss. मैं बोला तू है कौन? I'm in the market since 46 years. ऐसा डे ट्रेडिंग कौन करता है? Then I realized it's all fake, and you brought it out. Thanks. Now, my question, because you said you interact with SEBI and NSE a lot, can you explain why NSE and SEBI have slapped in such a huge margin, peak margin, ये margin हो, मैं तो पागल हो गया. इतना margin, what for? To safeguard our poor people? No. To safeguard the downside of the market? Yes, maybe. So, can you pinpoint what would be the reason for this?
Okay, okay. So I will. So first of all, I have not talked to see all my interactions with NSE, SEBI, etc. have been on other topics. So I don't know their official version of why this, right? But I'll
No,
try
no,
to.
no, no.
an-
I would
Yeah.
say, what is your way of thinking on this?
Okay. So this I can answer by my understanding of this, right? So one reason why there is a higher margin, right? Gradually could be that the regulator and the exchange thinks excessive leverage might be bad for the system. Again, like I said before, it is purely thinking from a least common denominator perspective. Like if a very experienced person does 10x leverage, 20x leverage, 30x leverage, that person probably knows what that person is doing. But if somebody who's a beginner with only 50,000 rupees in their bank account is allowed a 40x leverage, it might not be a good idea. Could be one reason why NSE and SEBI are thinking this. The second reason, of course, could be that could be one of enforcement, right? In the sense that, see, most of the big brokers, from whatever I understood by working with the big ones, is that they keep the money available, in the sense that, let's say that there is a tail event which hits the span limit, right? You need enough liquidity to cover for that contingency. Most of the large brokers have enough liquidity to cover this because they take client margins and keep it with them. But we are not sure, at least from whatever we hear, whatever we observe, that there are many smaller brokers outside the large broker known system which might be giving excessive leverage to clients. Number one. Number two, of course, is that earlier, uh, I mean, some time back, I mean, as much as I, this is hearsay, I don't have proof for it, but I'm not surprised if it happens also. A lot of brokers probably used to lend client margins to other people to trade, right? It could also be possible that there is a so this has happened before. For example, like I have got complaints from users that this has happened to their account. There is a person A, let's say there is, Anup has around let's say 10 lakh, 20 lakh in his demat account in normal uh, stocks, right? It Several brokers have done this practice before, that they pledged Anoop's money, and let's say gave it to Paul. So Paul is a trader who trades with with that broker, and Anoop is a client of the broker. So broker will pledge Anoop's holdings without telling in Anoop that, listen, your holdings are being pledged and margin is being released to Paul. And basically exchange, I mean, the brokers will lend that money to Paul, charge Paul some kind of an interest, allow Paul to trade on leverage and on interest, right? And broker makes money doing that. Now, the peak margin system which NSE introduced was primarily to prevent brokers over leveraging certain clients by lending them and doing this one client ka paisa to second client, is my understanding, right? Now, the truth is that when or let me put it this way, right? So, classic example, there are many companies which do work from office, there are many companies which do work from home. A lot of companies are forced to do work from home, work from office, because many people who are in their roster while they are at home are not really working. So they ask everybody to come to office so that these underperforming people are really working so they can be monitored. But what it does is that there are these people who are insanely productive at home when they can just sit and focus and not be stuck in traffic, etc. But for the sake of these people who are probably not putting in their best, a lot of others have to take a hit. I think the margin penalties gradually growing up and increased surveillance is a result of some people in the system probably over leveraging and doing all these things, but because of which, of course, a lot of legit traders who know how to responsibly use margins and leverage have to suffer. But I mean, I think this is what it is in my understanding. I think this is what they are doing, but I could be wrong because I'm not a person who's intimately aware of this matter.
No, but once the shares are segregated as per the clients and put in a margin for that client only, what is the harm in giving leverage?
Sorry, I didn't understand. Like, it could be that like, are you saying that once you watertight all the client accounts and one cannot go to the other, what is the harm?
Yeah, what is the harm of giving leverage? See, you keep one thing in mind.
Yeah,
This last 2 years were abnormal. Okay,
correct.
it will not repeat in history very soon.
Possible.
Now,
Yeah.
no, this is my view.
Okay.
And once the liquidity goes out of the window, we will find it very difficult to execute transactions. Already, we are finding it very difficult. The bid ask is very wide and whatnot. So, less of liquidity, no leverage is a sure disaster for any market. And mind you, I always speak in my spaces, though you don't attend one, is NSE has a buffer of around 4,000 or 5,000 rupees, and it clears uh, uh, trades worth 1,50,000 a day. So it's leveraging itself 40 times. If it is if it is leveraging, what is the harm in allowing others to leverage? And whereas the banks are leveraged to the tune of 5 times, 6 times, what is so special about NSE that it is taking so much of leverage? It's
So I
very
do.
scary.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
very scary. Very scary if you think about it.
Hmm.
If you think about it in a room where there is nobody for 5 minutes, this is the most scariest thing we are looking at. One fine morning, there is a meltdown. What will happen? NSE will not be able to clear the trades. And also another thing, this NSE says that settlement between brokers is not there. You have to settle with NSE. Okay, fair enough. But 90% of the trades on NSE are only financing trades. There is a huge open interest for months together and no trade happening. So basically, it's a financing transaction or a loan transaction. So why NSE is taking responsibility of that? Why doesn't it endow that responsibility to the broker who is carrying it out? So if you knock out the financing part of the transaction, NSE would be very well. 80% of the transactions are loan in nature. Hope I was clear enough you to understand.
So I'll clarify one thing for the listeners. So by financing transaction, what Sharad means is, let's say you sell an option which is deep ITM with a very high premium, you will get that premium credited into your account. This is what you mean by
No,
financing
no, no,
transaction.
no, 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 no.
No? Okay.
Financing transaction is I buy Reliance in futures
Okay.
and sell in cash market. So I raise the money. Okay.
Okay.
And that transaction I carry forward months together, years together. See, if you will look at open interest of all the scripts, it's huge. Now, nobody is playing that much. It's
Mhm.
just somebody has introduced physical shares into the system and taken a credit for it. It's mind-boggling. Indian system is really screwed up. Why would NSE clear a loan transaction of brokers? Why would NSE clear a trade which is taken with a view of 2 years? Why? Put a cutoff of 3 months. So these are, suppose something happen. I cannot figure out, or neither you can. But this can create havoc with the system.
Uh, can I answer one?
I yeah, please Anirban. If you have an answer to that, please.
No, yeah, I mean, Sharadji, good afternoon. I have been in your space also. Thanks for raising the question. So, what I know earlier, for brokers to exchange, there is a margin reporting for all the clients. Now it has become client level for individual. So suppose Saratji is a very big shot. He has 1,000 crore, and I am only dealing with 50 lakhs, and both have placed the shares, and both got the margin. So what happened earlier? Some broker, and there are some case I not willing to take the name. Those who pass the margin from one client to another. So now as Saratji has a, let's say, very big amount pledged and have large margin, but he is not using it for trade. But I don't have that kind of margin. So what the broker did, they passed the margin to
No, no,
me.
that system is over and done with.
Yeah, that's why the peak margin came into the picture, and that's why this, like earlier Sher Khan and other broker used to give 10 times, 15 times leverage. That is gone.
नहीं नहीं वो सब हो गया, वो सब हो गया. अभी
Sharaj, I'm so sorry to interrupt Sharaj and Anirban, but I think we're slightly deviating from the topic. Abid, do you have anything to say?
So I am not aware of these issues, and I should not think I should comment on something which I don't intimately
Yeah,
understand. So I'm just reserving the comment because I don't know the answer to why is this being allowed. I can see what Sharad is pointing out in the terms of the risks to the systemic risks, but I honestly don't know, and I don't think I should talk about things that I don't 100% know.
no, see, I understand where you are coming from, but if we will not talk of systematic risks that can happen, after the risk, we will discuss.
yeah. I think maybe Sharaji, you can drop an email or something, and then
No,
you
no, no,
can.
no, no,
No,
no,
no,
no,
I mean,
no, no.
no, I get that.
I don't
Sharad,
need.
I understand.
I don't need to know from him what will happen. I'm just
Fine.
narrating what I
No,
understand.
no, that we understand that, Sharadji.
Yeah. Harsh, Sahil, Utkarsh, you guys have.
Hi,
You
I
can
have a
unmute enough. Yeah.
I have something to ask about verified by sensible Abid.
Yeah,
Okay, so what I understand is verified by sensible shows the running position P and L at end of the day, right?
correct.
If I have Nifty long for say 100 quantity and Nifty moves up 50 points, I get 5,000 verified by sensible as a profit in my favor, right?
Hello.
If the Am I
Yeah,
audible,
yeah, yeah.
Abid?
Beach में your voice thoda broke.
Okay. So, take an example. If I buy 100 Nifty and it goes 50 points in my favor, it will show 5,000 point profit for that day. If next day it will go another 25 points in my favor, it will show 7,500. Am I
That
correct?
is correct. That is correct.
Okay. So, I find something which your team should work upon
Hear
is
anything after
if,
so, or is it
I
just me?
come in profit of,
Abid, I think I can hear Sahil speak. I think.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. I heard everything till 7,500, and after that, what happens?
Okay, fine. So my point, one point is clear. My second point is, if Nifty comes 250 points in my favor, and
Yeah.
if I carry 1,000 quantity,
Yeah.
it will show 2,50,000 profit for me, and it will be
Correct.
verified by Sensible. Now,
Correct.
what I do if I want to represent my P&L activity, what I'll do, I'll buy deep in the money put, okay,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah. Or
same
you can
1,000
short next
quantity.
month's futures, or you can take a counter position in the next month's
Right,
future.
right, and it
Yeah.
will show every day that
Yeah,
I
yeah,
am
yeah.
making consistent money. So what?
100% yes.
So I mean, then the purpose of this verified by Sensible will not be serving to the retail people.
Correct. So
Retail
there are
people
two
who is
answers to
not
it.
of ability to understand this will think this particular trade is making money every day.
Yeah, you're right here. You're right here. You're absolutely right here. The answer to that is we are working on the realized versus unrealized segregation. The second
Okay.
thing, of course, is see there are if there are people who are really looking into somebody's position, right? They'll
Mm-hmm.
actually see what has happened. So in the sense that see a lot of people have asked us to hide positions every day, right?
Right.
And we have always been against it for the simple reason that once you hide positions, it's super easy to pull off this scam. But if we show positions, then if you go to a person's P&L, you see 4 lakh today, right? And you look
Right.
at that person's P&L, you will see that, okay, that person has a Nifty future long, which has an average price of this much and the LTP is this much, right? Tomorrow he again posts 4L, you can go to that P&L, you'll again see, okay, this is Nifty position, open position, it has average price this much, LTP this much, and you'll be like, Arey, kal ka same cheez hai. And you, on the right side of the verified P&L page, you'll see a history panel, right? And you'll click on each entry and you'll see, okay, this person is basically carrying the same position every day, his average price has not
That is
changed.
that is there, but to confuse the people who, being a scammer, I target to, suppose, will play, some positions here and there. One, he is into some decent profit, for example, say 5 lakh. He'll
Uh-huh.
keep on playing like 15, 20,000 plus or minus to
That's fine,
avoid
but your
to.
but the central position will always show where the 5 lakh will came, because
Yeah.
every position is an entry. You'll always see that the really big money has come from one trade, and that trade has been open for the last n number of days. And if a person does not look into that detail, right? I mean, there's nothing you can do about it, right? Because here's a retail investor who sees 5L every day but does not bother to check where is this coming from. I mean, I mean, of course, yes, that person should also be protected, which is why we are not thinking of, we are doing realized. But yes, point fully taken that
Right.
the person can tweak some portions here and there, and somebody might, if they are not looking into P&L, think that okay, this person is minting 5L every day freshly. That is a fair
Right.
point.
Right, because what I understand is the sole purpose of starting this verified by Sensible is to protect innocent retail people from the scamsters, right? And
That
I
would be true.
doubt that the innocent retail small people will be able. I mean, 90% won't be able to understand this gimmick, which may be played by people who really looking at doing some scam. Not
No, no, you're
not
right there, which
I
is why we want to do realized.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
Hi Abid,
Uh,
can I go on? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, please, of
yeah.
course.
yeah. So hello Abid, it's a privilege to be from the same college. I am a recent graduate of IIM Ahmedabad also. So yeah,
Hey, good to meet you, man.
so yeah, so I recently ventured into options trading, and to be honest, I can't even imagine trading without sensibles. Because you need to know your break-even points and your spread strategies and everything. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So I just had one doubt. When we share the PNL on our Twitter account, so when I open it my mobile device, it shows me the sell and buy positions, but in the web on the PC, it
Correct.
doesn't show that. So is it intentional or is it just a bug?
I didn't get it. Could you repeat that, please?
So if you open the verified by Sensible PNL on your phone,
Uh-huh.
even in the closed
Uh-huh.
positions, you can see whether which options the person has bought and sold. BS it shows, but
Ah, okay, okay,
but
okay.
in the laptop it doesn't show. So I'm not sure if it was intentional or not.
Okay. So, the closed positions, right? So, open positions, it shows in both buy or sell. The deal with closed position is that once a position is closed, the broker does not really tell us if it was a buy position which got sold first, sorry, which got sold later, or if it was a sell position which got squared off by buying later, right? So I think as of now, by default, a closed position is always being shown as an S, right?
Okay,
You won't have found a B, it would have always been S. So this is a error at our side bar the way broker treats the positions. So yeah, I mean, very nice observation. But so yeah, this is a problem. It's simply because we don't know if once the position is closed, we don't know if it was a buy sell or a sell buy. So I think to solve that, we are going to put everything as a without a sign of buy or sell, all the closed positions. So I think that's the way we can do it. Otherwise, the broker has to start supporting sending an information along with a closed position, whether it was a buy sell or a sell buy, which brokers currently don't.
Okay.
I don't think they show it even in their own systems.
Okay. So basically, my logic was because I've been recently starting in options trading. So I've been studying the trades of people who have made profit and everything. So I was just studying their trades, how they are trading and all. So if
Yeah.
I just wanted to know their strategy, if that's buy or sell. So just wanted to study that. So
Ah, okay, okay. No, no. So we don't know whether it's a buy sell or sell buy. Of course, all the open positions you can see if
yeah.
it's a buy or sell, but closed positions, I don't think it's
Yeah.
correct.
One more thing.
Yeah.
Do we have any kind of feature? So we have a PNL alert, right? If our profit or loss touches a certain point, we get a notification. I just wanted to know if we can have a feature like if my profit or loss hits a certain amount, then I can exit all of my positions, like from sensible
So
point.
yeah, yeah, I understand. So the interesting thing is this, right? NSC considers this kind of a exit order as an algo, in the sense that anything which has um, an input as anything other than the price of an instrument. Like if you are trading a call option, the price of the call option should be the input and not something else. When you say that the P&L of something should be a trigger to an order, NSE considers that as an algo order. I mean, it's not really an algo, but for some reason, that's how exchange rules are structured. So, one is because of this particular reason, we haven't really done this, but we want to do this. It's just that we need to get some approvals in place. There's one more problem. Uh, if at all, right, whatever you're trying to exit happens to be an ITM option or something. Let's say you bought like a call option on Reliance or something, or and it really really goes in your favor, right? And you make a lot of money on that. But then the problem is when you buy an option and you make a lot of money, it also becomes an ITM. And next morning or something, it becomes a gap up open, and now your P&L is hit. Let's say, right?
Yeah.
We really don't have any control over at what price it can execute if you instruct the system to square off this position if this PNL is hit. So, because of these two reasons, we are a little skeptical of introducing it. Of course, in a Nifty ATM option, market is always liquid and deep, and things can happen. But there is a slight probability that if somebody sets an alert saying that if my overall PNL becomes this, exit all my positions, then we really don't know what will happen if that particular P&L target is hit at 9:15 a.m. when the liquidity is not formed, or happening in a single stock where the ladder is not deep enough, right? Which is why we are kind of skeptical. But we would really love to have this done at some point. And largely, we are also taking a thoda execution improvement direction in the next quarter or so. So we should see something happening here.
Okay. So just one last question. One last, not a
Yeah.
question, just an advice. So as a beginner, I've been following your videos a lot. So I've been trading in spread strategy. So my profit and losses are limited. So thankfully, I've been making profit. I haven't lost money. So as a beginner, can you just explain a little bit about what mistakes I'm going to commit? These are inevitable, and I should not worry about it. Like starting में बंदा करेगा ही करेगा, and they should not worry about it. They should just move on from that.
Yeah, I think I think if I were to summarize in one line, right, the most important thing a person has to learn in trading is what that person does when that person goes into a loss, right? All our big mistakes happen in huge clusters of one or two big tilt movements. Or let me put it this way, right? See, when people break diets, right? People go on all sorts of diets, right? And exercise regimens and all that. When people break diets, it's not like they have one cookie and that's it, right? They have one. Oh my god, I did this. Chalo, anyway, everything is lost. Let me go eat a biryani also, right?
Yeah.
Or think of people who are trying to quit smoking, right? They have that one cigarette. It's not like that one cigarette and then, you go back to your quit smoking regimen, and then there's a strict chain reaction, right? I have often seen in trading is that, see, there are good days and there are bad days, right? And good days may you don't really try to, people, I mean, at least I don't, and most people I know don't really try to, ride the form and try to maximize the profit or something. They're just chilling, okay, but when a loss happens, how you manage yourself defines everything in your trading life, right? Most people, what they try to do is, ek loss aaya, they're in a hurry to make it back, right? And I'll be honest, right? Even even I don't trade for money any longer. I don't really trade even any longer. But even even today, when I see like a 20K, 30K ka loss, I'm like, "Arey yaar, डूब गए सारे मेरे पैसे. Let me just try to quickly get it back." And that instinct to, oh my god, let me just get it back, right? It, or do something about my loss. Let me just quickly come out. Oh, I'm losing so much. When you're in a loss, right, you have to trust the process that, okay, I have a way of trading. I'm going to stick to that way of trading and eventually recover my loss. There's something that is the right thing to do. But more often than not, all of us, right, we're all ultimately human. We are in a hurry to, yaar, ek loss ho gaya. Come on, let me just, get it all back quickly or do something to remedy this loss. I think the biggest mistakes which any trader will is going to commit are the mistakes which they will do when they are in a state of loss or drawdown, to do something about that loss or drawdown quickly. My only advice is that when you are in that phase, do what you would do normally and don't try to do anything special for that particular thing. Basically, don't trade too much or increase your bet size or any of that stuff when you are in a loss. When you are in a loss, just tell yourself that, okay, it's part of the game. Sometimes win, sometimes lose. I'm just going to, let this be, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Just keep a conscious check on how much you're trading when you're in loss. Keep that to a low amount. You should be fine. In fact, my one liner is that if you hit a loss, just close your screen and take a couple of days of break. You'll start seeing everything in a new perspective. Things should be fine. In fact, if somebody could make a system or an app or something which immediately locks out a trader for like 6 hours or 8 hours or 24 hours or 3 days or whatever, immediately when they get a slightly large loss, that should solve all of the trading community's problem.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, this is my only thing. This is a mistake which you are going to make. You're going to have a loss. Just make sure that you're carrying yourself well when you hit the loss.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Abid. Yeah, that was well.
Hey, no worries, man. No worries at all.
Hey, Abid.
Abid,
Karan.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt. Yeah, Abid, I think we'll take two more questions because we had planned this for 45 minutes. Now it's 1.5
Yeah, it's
hours.
okay. I mean, it's not like I have. I mean, if you're okay, I can continue.
I'm
If
fine with it. If you're
yeah,
fine,
then
we
let's
can continue.
continue. यार. क्या जाता है? Yeah, I mean, if people are like, I don't know. Is there like a time limit or research you have done about Twitter Spaces, Anup, which says that the best space is done for X hours or something?
No, nothing like that.
Okay,
Nothing.
okay. Then we'll continue. Here. If people want to continue, let's continue.
Hey, Abid.
Yeah,
Karan here.
okay.
Sorry.
Hey, Karan.
I'm back. Just two questions which hit me. One is I have a ICICI Direct broker now. So do
Yeah.
you have any timeline when verified will be on for ICICI Direct?
Unfortunately, I don't, because
Okay.
there are some major changes which we need to do in their API positions API. But we will keep you posted. The moment we have a timeline, we'll put
Perfect,
it
perfect.
out.
Thank you. And the other thing was,
You know.
Abid, I
Yeah.
trade spreads. I trade spreads, right? And I do directional. Like if I see the market is going bearish, I'll sell calls, and then out of the money calls, and further out of the money, I'll buy it, and that's how I trade. So in terms
Yeah.
of placing the stop losses, is there a thought where you would put a we can put an absolute amount stop loss? Because usually how my system works is like if I'm targeting 3,000 profit, 3x of that would be my stop loss. Say 9,000 rupees will be my stop loss, and because in spread it is very difficult to place a specific stop loss. So yeah, so
Correct.
so is there a thought how we would be able to do that, like an absolute amount stop loss in the system?
Yeah, we are thinking through that. I just answered that on a side
Oh,
also, because thoda it's a thoda exchange approval we need for that, but we are working on that. Probably in a quarter or a couple of quarters, we'll have much more solid thought process around how to do these P&L based order
uh,
execution. Largely, that is the headline.
perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you for answering that.
No worries, Karan. I think we have Srinjoy uh, Shah.
Srinjoy Das. Yeah. Hi,
Hi.
Abid. Wonderful to see you conduct these spaces. You should do more of these often. I've been trading for a long time. I find Kya Lag Raha Hai Market also extremely helpful on YouTube. I have some feature related suggestions and feedback. So I know that your engineers will start groaning at this moment and say कि भाई फिर से नया आइडिया दे रहा है वर्कलोड बढ़ा रहा है नेक्स्ट क्वार्टर का so already please pardon me for that but I
No
think
worries.
that these are genuine requests.
Yeah, please.
ठीक है. So first is that if you follow Tasty Trades, I think you should definitely have your engineers download and use Tasty Trade. I know legality मेरे को पता नहीं but there's a beautiful feature where you can roll down your options or roll down your positions by 200 points down or up. So if you can do that, that'll be really awesome. So what happens is that you want to roll down your strangles or you want to roll down your put ratios or debit spreads, anything by 200 or 100 points. It's not a complicated process of adding new positions and exiting new positions etc. It's a very seamless process. आप आराम से 200-300 पॉइंट नीचे या ऊपर कर सकते हो. वो स्क्वायर ऑफ करेगा जिसको स्क्वायर ऑफ करना है and then adds in new positions. So that's one of those suggestions. There's many ways to implement this. I've thought about this a lot. I think there are many ways you can implement this, and it's complicated, so it will take a long time, right? So that's I think one of
Basically,
the
you're talking about making adjustments easier.
correct. Right now, adjustments in live markets is not that fast on sensible. I
No,
know it's
understood. So this is another request we have been putting on our queue for quite some time. But we will pick this up. Basically, we also understand that okay, if my credit spread ka sell strike is already breached, if I want to quickly do 200-point adjustment, it shouldn't be that I manually exit and then go to builder and then basically I get the meta. Totally agree.
Exactly. In the volatile environment that we are in right now, 50 points तो तब तक move हो जाता है जब तक people figure out कि क्या करना है, right? So that's I think there'll be a wonderful retention strategy for you guys because that's where I think some of the pro traders, I mean, your front page says trade options like a pro. That's one of the places where pro traders move to other platforms after having used Sensible, क्योंकि वो इतना जल्दी action नहीं ले सकते. Difficult to implement, but food for thought, right?
Absolutely.
Second suggestion is that I think there was a gentleman who was talking about मेरे को stop loss करा दो once I've hit a specific amount of green or red जो कि आप नहीं कर सकते हो because rules around algo etc. क्या platform क्या license है are vague. Why not just simply put it on alert? Just send me a notification saying
We
कि
already have
आपने
that. You can do that. You can put a WhatsApp alert on
oh
your PN.
oh okay. Then I'm
So if you go
slightly
to positions page, there is something which says set alert,
हाँ
and
जी.
then every time it hits the PNL number, it will send you a WhatsApp notification.
अच्छा, so I can do that for each group. So basically, I have all these.
Yeah. You can do it at a group level also.
Okay. I shall look into that. So apologies, I did not notice this before.
No
Yeah.
worries at all.
The final is that I am really glad you added a bunch of strategies, a lot of unknown strategies which people don't use, like strips and straps. But let's add some more. I'm guessing like broken wing butterflies are just a modification of spreads, right? So there are many more strategies that you can add. Do you have any timelines, or can you tell us कि is there any priorities of hey these are the features जो हमारा अभी priority है, strategies extra add करना अभी बाद में आएगा भाई. So do you have anything in terms of prioritization of adding strategies? Because I don't know if you even if you look at your most used features.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a very good question. So, sorry, but your question is incomplete. I interrupted.
my
Please
question is
finish.
basically is that how are you prioritizing adding more strategies compared to say adding more screeners and IV charts and everything? Even though I will completely admit that this can be very anecdotal, कि मुझे लगता है कि people spend a lot of time on your strategies वाला page compared to all the other bells and whistles that you
No, it's
have been
actually
adding on.
easy. Like it's
हाँ
very
जी.
easy. It's just that if you can send me a list of strategies, so all the new strategies which we added, right? It hardly took us 1 or 2 days. So if you think there are compelling strategies which we should add in Builder, please drop me an email. You know my email, and we can pick it up because it hardly takes 1 or 2 days to spec and add it to the system.
Oh, wonderful! That's really wonderful to hear. I'll just drop you a bunch of things
Done.
like that.
Done.
ठीक है.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Anything at all, you can drop me. Abid at sensible.com.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Abid.
No worries.
Keep doing all the amazing work you and your team
Thank
has
you.
been doing, and
Thank
keep
you.
and keep doing more of these spaces, I guess. So you can remove me from speaker because I think there are others who would want to speak. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
I think
Thank you.
Shabazz is.
Yeah, can I speak?
Yeah, please, Shabazz.
Yeah. So your platform, like it integrates a lot of things, option chain from NSE and PCR, and a lot of strategies as well. So me being a beginner trader, so just not for the money. So I'm trying a lot of things with Iron Condor, debit spread, and everything, hoping that once I have the money, so I'll not be losing the money, without any with a lack of knowledge or something. So I'm just checking with you, you have this great platform. So instead of just um, like going to NSC option chain to check the OI and premium and option greens, and instead of going to NSC trader for PCR, one platform to check everything and to take the trades, enter and exit timely manner. And if I, yeah. So what I'm asking is, so can you come up with this algo, if we have something like a symbol strategy, RSI or something like that. So if you can come up with a simple algo, so that'll be like one full stop platform. So we can try something and virtual trade as well, something like that. Virtual trade
So,
in algo as well.
so I'll tell you the answer to that. Right, this is something which we have
Sure.
thought through. Right, the first of all, algo is very gray, right? Unless we have a clear nod from the regulator and exchange on this, we won't put algo on options because, like, so even if you look at us now, there's nothing gray we are doing, right? In sense, yeah, we are so non-gray that even before starting virtual trade, we talk to SEBI, NSE, Dortex, everybody, and our virtual trade follows the exchange rules and everything else, right? Now, the problem is if we introduce an algo based execution, it is a little gray for, see, I mean, smaller platforms can do it getaway, right? Because they're not really being monitored by SEBI or NSE or anybody. And it's not like it creates a massive outrage if something goes wrong there. But because we are on these brokers and because we are ourselves a SEBI registered RA, we have to kind of make sure that we don't get into anything. Basically, it's a huge risk reward problem for us. That if we do this, it makes some amount of extra, let's say, users. But if something goes wrong, and if the infra doesn't hold scalably, or even a freak incident happens, or even if NSE liquidity, it's not like the NSE has the best liquidity when it comes to single stock or ITM, Nifty, etc. We don't. Number one, right? The number two, the bigger problem which nobody is really highlighting is this, right? See, I'll tell you interesting statistics because we were evaluating launching an algorithmic trading platform several months back. And in that process, I ended up talking to all the current algo boys in India, right? You think of any algo platform, I might have talked to either the founder or the CTO or somebody in that territory, right? What I have realized is your NSE, so if I'm not mistaken, at that time when we did the numbers, Nifty has roughly 10,000 lots per minute on the ATM, right? ATM option roughly has 10,000 lots per minute being traded. So let's say
Yes.
we bring up with an algo, come up with an algo based execution. Somebody's mic is, Shabas,
Uh,
you have a lot of background noise. I'll just mute you.
sure, sure.
So, a problem is a lot of algo boys or girls, they haven't really realized that India's ATM Nifty option only trades 10,000 lots a minute, right? So if we were to expose an algo of the shelf and we were to put it on the front page of, let's say, Zerodha, ICICI, Kite, etc., the number of people who subscribe to that might be in thousands on day one. And this is a risk we are very acutely aware of, right? Unlike a smaller platform, which, let's say, has users in the territory of hundreds, we'll hit a much bigger scale much faster, not because we are doing anything spectacular, simply because of the visibility that Zerodha has been nice enough to grant us, for example, right? So, people on board on Sensible's algo platform on day one, and let's say we have three generic algos running, and if we assume equal split in all three generic algos, we are basically expecting 15,000 people to do the same thing roughly in the same time interval, right? 15,000 people, let's say these guys are all trading with a capital of around 5 to 10 L. If you treat them all as spreads, it's roughly 8 orders in each account. That is roughly 1.2 L orders coming from one person who has subscribed to a very popular generic strategy, right? And even if we don't have three strategies, let's say we have 100 strategies, right? Because of this 80-20 rule, the skew will be predominantly towards one or two top strategies. So if you are trying to hit 100,000, that is 1 lakh algo orders in roughly the same algo in a minute, we have to understand that that's 10 times the current volume on a Nifty ATM option. Even if we were to spread it out in 10 minutes, which is horrendous from an execution perspective, we are 50% of the market. If we do it in 100 minutes, which is roughly 1 hours and 40 minutes, we are 10% of the market, right? So you see the problem, right? Basically, at our scale, we can't really get into algo off the shelf for people and expect that everything will work smoothly. Either the impact cost is going to kill us. And I was talking to, so for example, a lot of my old friends are HFT Janta, people in Tower and Renaissance and Millennium and all that. They told me, boss, if impact cost won't kill you, people who can sniff out what your algo is trying to do based on the pattern of orders emanating from one concentrated set of client base, they'll sniff it out and they'll kill you, because they are ultimately market making, right? So all these HFTs will behave in such a way as to decrease their impact cost, which means increase our impact cost. So that's the prime reason why we are not venturing into algo, if that answers your question. Simply, my one liner answer is that it is impossible for somebody to do algo at scale for retail in India right now, simply because we don't have the depth.
Yes. Thank you very much. I was
No
just
worries, no
thinking,
worries.
if I have a set of code that will define certain conditions like option creep will hit to this particular points,
But
and
that's
if
a
I do
smaller
have a
market.
great
But then that is your
sensible
algo,
API,
and that is yeah. Oh, sorry. Please go on.
yes, sensible API will be the greatest, like comparing to any other, because this is, as I've told, like I mean, as everybody know, this is a one-stop platform where we have a lot of data that we are getting from 2 or 3 platforms or more. So the API, the interacting with the API will be great. But yes, I understand. I mean, I do not understand master obligation, but from your perception, like I can easily ask for the algo from your perception. Yes,
So
it's not
there are
that
two
easy.
algos.
Yes.
One is you can code your own algo and deploy, but we believe it's a smaller market because it's a small enthusiast crowd. The real money is in algos which everybody can use, right? Like off the shelf. Anybody can trade an algo by subscribing to it. I simply don't think that can scale because of the lack of, like, at 10,000 lots a minute, we cannot have a future anytime in the near future where a sizable portion of India's top 1% people are trading algos. It simply cannot happen with the current market depth. This was the other point, of course, fully granted. If you want to code your own algo, we should allow it, but we don't know how large that market is, which is why we are thoda, but we are thinking in that direction. We will for sure keep you posted, keep everyone posted for that reason.
Sure. I was yes. I was thinking about the later one. So if I do have a great API like yours, I can interact with that. So thank you very much, and thank you for all the webinars that you have done, and thank you for all the evening talk about the Nifty Bank Nifty analysis that you do every day. Thank you so
Thank you,
much. Very
Thomas. Thank
useful.
you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Abhishek, one second, I'll just
Yeah,
we
so
have,
for some reason, right, I am not able to see the ones who are requesting, but I can see the number.
so I'm letting in Abhishek, Altaf, and Shatanand.
Yeah.
Hello,
And
Abhi.
Ravishankar. Hi, Ravishankar.
Hi, good evening. So, regular listener to Kya Lag Raha Hai Market. So, interesting space every day that you
Thank you. Last week
do
was
over there.
horrible, though.
That's fine. That's fine. That happens. So, one request what I had to ask is whenever you're calculating the ROI on a trade on verified by Sensible, okay. So, just have a thought of having thinking into context about what amount was actually used as a margin for that particular trade, and also the total margin or the total account size of that particular customer, because bet size is something what people should actually look into a lot. And I think if you want to actually follow
successful traders, I think it would be a very good guide for it. So if you can do that,
Yeah,
that
we are
would
doing both. We are doing both ROA as a percentage deployed and ROA as a percentage of total funds available.
yeah, that will be great. Thank you. And Adibale, keep going on. You rock.
Hey, thanks, man. Thank you. Thank you. We have Altaf is. I've allowed Altaf in 1 second. And Ashish is up. Abhishek is up. Shatan is up.
Hey, thanks, Abid. I think I'll go ahead. So, first of all, good work on verified by Sensible.
Thanks, Ashish.
I've seen the posts, MTM posts, getting reduced in last couple of months or 1 month since when you have started. I have a few questions on this. So first is on the booked PNL versus the open positions. So when somebody
Yeah.
posts a daily MTM, and let's say if they are carrying a bull call spread and market is bullish, continues to be bullish for let's say 4 5 sessions, and their position is still open, so they get to post same MTM every day, but effectively
Correct.
it is not the uh, actual PNL which is getting reflected in that.
Yeah. Which is why we are doing realized and unrealized split.
Okay, I did not know it is already up. Is it?
We are going to do
Okay.
that. I mean, we have all the APIs now.
Yeah.
It's just a question of reading that and putting it on the front end.
All right. So that's fine. And second question that I had was, some folks who are doing let's say intraday straddles or strangles, or and then they are buying hedges also, and double the quantity hedges and things like that, and they are putting a lot of time based straddles. So for a 20 lakh account or for a 25 lakh account, I have seen people posting PNL in terms of ROI, but then it does not uh, capture the cost which is there to take those many trades. For a 20 lakh account, if you are putting in 25 30 orders in a day.
Yes. Yes.
So that,
I totally get what you're saying.
yeah.
So now, thankfully, NSE has helped us in that. NSE came up with a regulation recently saying that all brokers have to show all costs of a trade upfront to a client.
Yeah.
Which also means that now they have an API which you can hit with a set of orders and it tells you your total cost. So we have implemented two features.
Okay.
One is on the main Sensible platform. That is, before taking a trade, you can see what is the cost involved for that trade there.
Right.
Another feature which we have implemented again in the main platform is you can see your entire day का damage with a single click, saying कि आज मेरे इतने पैसे मैंने broker को, SEBI को, government को, STT department को, कृषि कल्याण को,
Yeah, so that is I think something
What
similar
also
to
do
what
is this
Zerodha also does
for
these
verified
days.
sensible. Yeah, so in verified sensible also we'll also show you the total trading costs once this thing is done. So this is already done on the per trade cost on sensible.
Right.
The day's cost. Once the day's
Yeah.
cost is ready, we'll put it both on verified by sensible. But thank you for this, because I had done this. We had done this only for days orders inside sensible. I'm just realizing that we should do this for verified by sensible also. We'll do it right away. It's the same API anyway. We'll do this.
Yeah.
That's a
So
great.
yeah, and one last before I go.
Yeah.
I was hoping that traders get to post their monthly or their quarterly ROI or whatever performance or PNL, because daily gets lost somewhere, and
Correct,
some
correct.
people who are positional in nature, they won't be trading, they won't be intensively day trading, and then if traders get to post, let's say monthly or quarterly, then over the period of a long time, at least 6 months or a year or more, people get a fair sense of understanding that who's doing good job and who's trying to scam or whatever.
So the answer to that is I had mentioned it in the beginning of this space. What has happened is um, the brokers are now going to implement. Like, I have talked to multiple brokers. I mean, can't name them because they haven't officially announced. They are now implementing the API which you need to show your overall portfolio performance over certain time periods, like 1 month, 3 month. Basically, you can now go to the broker's backend and say, "Ki boss, you know what? Generate a link which verifies my last 1 year P&L to everybody," and now you can do that. And that link shows your last 1 year performance, P&L, return, equity curve, everything to your end user, right? The reason why most brokers were not doing it, they really wanted to do it, but they didn't know how this will turn out. But now that we have showed most brokers how this will turn out, I think they are now very pissed out about doing this, and I think we'll see more and more brokers implement this.
Yeah, that is completely understandable, I think.
Yeah, so the good news is brokers are now doing it, and we can see
All right.
everybody's equity curve performance, everything.
Okay. Thanks, Abid, for
Hey, no worries.
those questions patiently. And once again, good work on verified by Sensible.
Thank you, Ashish. Uh, I think we'll take a few more. We'll put a hard stop at 8:15, Anup. 7:55.
Yeah,
It is now 20 minutes. We'll put a hard stop.
done.
I think Fact Finder is up. Abhishek is up.
Yeah, hi. Thanks a lot for allowing me to ask this question, Abid. I'm sorry I joined a little late, so forgive me if I ask you this question. It's already repeated. The thing is, obviously, this guy Kamatsan Zerodha mentioned that looking at his data, uh, that the average, just 1 or 2% of traders on his network actually make a decent return of barely double digits. uh, yeah,
Correct.
so I wanted to ask, but I at the same time I have to tell you I've come across a few people who have shown me some algos based on options purely, and I back tested them in different time frames, and they seem to give a return which is quite attractive, almost anywhere between 30 to 60%. Depending upon what time frame I chose, and I chose the last 20 years or 15 years, right? It seemed just too good to be true. In your assessment, and the simple thing is that the option market, if somebody makes money, somebody loses money. If the guy on the futures makes money, somebody else is losing money, right? It's a zero sum game. So I want to
Correct.
ask you, in your view, based on your looking at your platform and the data that you get, what typically has been the, do you have some sort of a bell curve in terms of what percentage of algos actually make money, and what is the mean average return of these algos?
So we don't really have any algos running on our platform. We are not an algo trading platform. Uh, and in fact, most of our, I mean, I think all of our orders are manual. I don't think we have any algos, and I don't think I'll be in a position to comment about what percentage of algos make money. But I'll tell you one thing for sure: algos generally are good at avoiding one thing, which is big losses, which retail investors are not good at. So even if somebody says all the algos are outperforming 99% of the retail investors, it might be true simply because algos are built in such a way as to not take a huge loss or to get out of the business when a certain drawdown hits, right? So if you ask me how many of algos make money, I don't know is the answer. But how many of what percentage of algos outperform retail? The answer to that is I know very few algos which completely blow up, whereas I think the broking industry would largely agree that 9 out of 10 people who open an option trading account blow up, right? So I can say that algos outperform at least 90% of the retail investors simply from the point of view that no algo completely blows up. So I does that answer your question in some way?
Yeah, thanks a lot. No, I understand that you have a fair point. This is helpful. Thanks a lot.
No worries.
Hello. Yeah, Abid, good evening. Altaf here.
Hey Altaf. Altaf, I repeatedly let you up,
Yes,
but it kept on dropping off for some
yes.
reason.
There seems to be some issue with the Twitter space. Quite a few people are complaining about it. Audio
Okay.
issues.
Oh, okay.
Abid, I wanted your input on the importance of trading psychology on any kind of trading, be it investments, be it options trading or futures trading.
Okay. So, see, my so if it comes to investments, right, I have only and only one input. See, put your money every month, roughly the same amount in a Nifty ETF or a Nifty direct mutual fund or a large cap direct mutual fund every month. There's no psychology, nothing involved. You only need to know the. So there's a very famous saying by Naval, right? Naval Ravikant of. So th- basically, what Naval says is this, right? Everyone knows how to get rich. It's just that try to rich quickly. That's why they don't get rich, right? And I think it's a beautiful saying, because if you put Nifty ETF में money, roughly the same amount of your disposable income or your surplus every month, as an SIP in the long run, you would have done very well for yourself, right? At least your kids will be driving silver colored BMWs and whatnot, right? So,
Absolutely right.
but then, but then the problem is this, right? And this is about human problem, right? We all want instant gratification. We want instant results. See, I know for a fact that if I avoid the temptation to have an extra cookie for the next 1 year, and I go to gym every day 1 hour for the next 1 year, and I do cardio for 3 days a week every for 1 year. At the end of 1 year, I'll be unrecognizable. I know that, right? But the thing is that uh, in human motivation is inversely proportional to how far away. One second, Altaf, your mic I'm muting because of some background noise. So human motivation, the way it works is that, I mean, this is not me, this is science. So there's a lot of research done on motivation study simply says that your motivation is directly proportional to how large the payoff is. It is directly proportional to how probable the payoff is, and it is inversely proportional to how far away in the future your payoff is, right? Now the problem is there are some things which work in the long run. There are no instant results. You keep on doing this process, things will be epic, right? Like how we do studies in school, or how we take care of health or something like that. In the long run it goes very well, right? But you can't see anything tomorrow, right? And the problem with investing is a lot like that. I mean, I'm see, the fun part is this, right? So I used to attend quizzes in school, and I used to win a lot of prize money here and there, and I it was all tiny sums, right? Some 20K, 30K here and there in 1990s. But I'm realizing that, if I had put that money in Nifty ETF since late 90s, I probably wouldn't. I don't have to, think of getting my, at least, I could also have done some fancy car in the background and done like
Yeah, I get
right,
your point. I get your point.
but that is about investing, right? Now
Yeah.
trading, so one thing is that, even so, that is an extreme case when you know that a process works in the long run in investment. Trading is not very different from that, right? Because trading may, if you follow a set process, or let me put it this way, right, very simply, even if you are aiming to capture like 0.5% a week, right, or let's say a measly 2 to 3% a month, right? By doing some things which are fairly low risk, and replicable, scalable, and works in the long run, you're up 24-25% a month, right? But people just try to make uh, 5% this week, and they end up minus 90%. So I think more than addressing the core of what psychology is, we have to understand the motivation behind the psychology. And the motivation simply is that, as humans, we are not seeing that if I keep on doing this 1 year from now, this is my payoff. Instead, everybody says कि यार आज मेरे account में 10 lakh है, चलो let me make it 12 lakhs at the end of this month, right? And that's sad, but that's how it is. And I think one reason why uh, trading, investing, etc. doesn't work for most people is because uh, payoff is too far if you do non-risky thing, and if you want instant payoff, you have to disproportionately increase your risk, right? Like for example, if you want to go from Bangalore to Mysore at 80 kilometers an hour, it probably takes around 3 hours. But if you try to do it at 160, you probably might not get there. I think it's a lot like that. But when it comes to trading, honestly, psychology is everything, and the ability to trust your process for the long run. Altaf, does that answer your question?
Altaf, I'm sorry, I had to mute you because of the disturbance in the middle.
Yeah, Abid, I wanted to know why there is no formal education on trading psychology. I've been trying to break my head, trying to get through to people about the importance of psychology. Everybody's more interested in kal kya lena hai, strike price batao.
That is a very good question. So the thing is this, right? See, I'm an uncle, right? I have a nephew and a niece. In fact, I have two nephews and a niece. Right? If there is one thing I wanted to teach them, that is how to play cards. Right? And their parents won't let me anywhere near them. But I want to tell them how to manage money, how to take risk, how to look at money, how to, you know, there's a whole taboo on gambling, right? Because see, ultimately everybody is gambling. When you start a company, you are gambling. When you go to a college, you are gambling. When you decide to choose your life partner, you're gambling. Everything is ultimately, any kind of decision you take under uncertainty is gambling. And we need to know ourselves to be able to take a meaningful, uh, whether you're playing cricket, like when you decide to go past 120 in the first 15 overs, it is gambling. You could easily settle down for 90 and lose no wickets, but sometimes people take chances. Let's do 120 for 2 wickets, right? But how to look at risk reward, how to understand how it affects us, whether we should be doing it or not, what are the things, the kind of self awareness which comes with being up and down in money is something which none of our schools teach, none of our parents teach, because it's such a taboo topic. It is sad. And I think if there's one pet project I want to do, it would be to teach young people how to look at money meaningfully in terms of risk reward. There's nobody doing that, and I think it's a it's a great thing. If and I don't want to say it this way, but ultimately, how to take calculated risks in life depending on what our circumstances are is one thing which everybody should be teaching everybody, at least in the next generation to come. So point completely taken, Altaf. Nobody teaches it, but I think we should
Yeah, but
teach it.
Abid, I will tell you one thing. Risk
Yeah.
taking is absolutely discouraged in colleges also. My daughter has crossed her graduation. She did not have a single lecture in goal setting or priorities in life. And she has passed out from one of the biggest institutes in Pune, which has given 3 prime ministers to India. Still not a single lecture on goal setting and probabilities. And she has majored in economics.
Wow, okay, that is sad. I mean, we should have courses on self-discipline, goal setting, self-awareness, risk-taking, where we want to go, etc., etc. It's just not there. It's a sad reality, but yeah, hopefully we might. Let me, yeah, let's just. So there is one thing which is happening. The entire nation's curriculum is being revamped with inputs from a lot of experts. Uh, I know a few people on that panel. Let's just try to drop in this idea in some of these people's minds.
Yes, absolutely. I'll take a back seat now. I've taken up enough time. Thanks, Abid, for letting me speak. And
Thank you,
thanks
Altaf.
for answering my queries so patiently.
Thank you, Altaf. Thanks.
Hi,
We'll,
Abid.
hey,
Hello.
hi, Gouda.
Hi, this is I'm late for the party. Sorry if I'm repeating
Hey,
the
no
same
problem,
question.
no problem.
So, small traders like me who has capital around like 10 to 15 lakhs, we basically use this Finways, yeah, free broker.
Okay.
So, can you like collaborate with them, like how we collaborated with the Zerodha, ICICI Bank, like that?
Yeah, we
Because
are in talks with Finways. Yeah, the founder is a friend's friend. We are talking to them. We just have
yeah,
to niggle out some commercials and it should be good to go.
no,
But we,
yeah,
sorry.
basically, like I want it immediately because the thing is, what I basically do is like if I want to go long on futures, I'll go with synthetic futures.
Okay.
So if you're going to if I want to go long in banks, I'll go long in Axis, ICICI,
Got it.
HDFC, State Bank, and go short in Bank Nifty.
Got it.
So that will be total of 10 strikes.
Correct.
So by the time I enter 10 strikes,
Correct.
I'll be down by 4 to 5k.
Correct.
So
Yeah, correct.
that's the reason. So anyways, I was using this Sensible for placing orders in Zerodha.
Got it. Got it. So we are talking to see. I from my side, I've been chasing this for at least the last 2-3 months.
Yeah.
But see, we are a startup, right? We are like 30, 40 people. We buy-in is easy for us, but other companies are slightly larger entities. They need buy-in from multiple teams. So we are just waiting for it. But no official blocker at our end. So we'll keep you posted on that.
Yeah, if that will be done, I'll be the happiest person.
We are talking to them. I'm talking to the founder almost every other week on this topic.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
No worries. Chandru is in, Ganesh is in.
Can
So
I
we'll
go
take
ahead?
last 10 minutes. Yeah,
Okay.
please go on.
Yeah, so I just wanted to add a few points on the psychology point of it, which I think Ravi Shankar was talking about. In fact, you should be adding the amount of capital deployed and percentage of capital used, the entire this one. Because, see, you suddenly show up like, let's say, 10, 20 lakhs of profits in a day. And then there are people which is the entire capital, and you might have swings of so much. So it's a psychology game, at the end of the day.
Correct.
And more importantly, what I wanted to say is, you have to earn the right to to play with big size. Suddenly, let's say somebody wins the lottery somewhere, and then they get like 2 crores. I can assure you that within one month he'll be zero.
100%.
Because
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, so these are some things that I wanted to add. And then also this entire verified by sensible thing, it's becoming like a competition on Twitter. कि मैंने आज कितना बनाया, तूने आज कितना बनाया. Let's say someone like Deepak Shenoy, for example, he could like wipe out everyone else. Like he could just make 10 crores with a very small trade, with a very small trade. So he is like already much more above the rest. So I think should not be a competition with people. It should be a competition with oneself. I think that
Correct,
is what
correct.
trading is about.
We are officially not having a leaderboard for this exact reason.
Yeah, it's good that you remove that feature because I had seen that this one the leaderboard one a few times, and then I thought, why is this happening?
No, that's not us. It's a other handle doing that, compiling information. We don't have an official.
Okay, understood. Yeah, got it.
So that's sensible. Anything which says sensible top performers is not an official handle run by us. But we don't want to, go to them and say, "Hey, boss, ये सब नहीं कर सकते हो," because, it's a free country, right? So, but yeah, it's not us officially doing that.
One more question,
Yeah,
if you don't mind taking it, absolutely you have the discretion
yeah.
to not take it. I just wanted to know what are you getting out of this? What's the revenue model for Sensible like?
Yeah, so when people normally ask this question, I usually answer with a meme that is in
And that meme says तुमको क्यों चाहिए?
they not that meme. See, you've seen the Dark Knight, right?
Yeah,
So in
yes.
which Alfred says, there was a robber in Burma who was used to loot the merchant caravans in Burma when they were traveling with rubies and gems and all. And they used to take all the rubies from the caravans, and the robber used to disappear. So one day, these guys decided to hunt down the robber, and they followed his trail and all. And finally, they found a child playing with a ruby the size of an orange. And Alfred says, so the robber was not really doing this to make money out of the ruby. So then Bruce Wayne asks Alfred, "Hey, but so why was he doing it?" And then Alfred says, because some men want to watch the world burn. So honestly, my answer is that, see, we didn't have an explicit motive to doing this, right? Of course, the unforeseen consequence of that is it's a lot of publicity, it's a lot of credibility. People have started trusting us a lot more after launching this. But in all honesty, we were doing a lot of trustworthy stuff before this also. But it's just that after this, the trust in system has gone up a lot more. There's no monetary incentive to this because we'll never be able to monetize this. Because if we monetize this, that will conflict with SEBI RA regulations, so it will never become a paid thing. We won't say that one day to see a verified PNL you have to pay, or to see somebody's verified PNL you have to pay. So there's no monetary impact. We did it for fun, right? So the honest answer is, why did we do verified PNL? We did it for fun. Did, will it become this big? Did we think that? No. Did we get any benefit from this? Yes, but that's not why we did it. It happened, and then we realized, oh, okay, it's a lot more public. Because honestly, right, even my classmates, my extended family, my friend circle, nobody knew about Sensible. But after this thing, suddenly everybody knows about us. Now, whether they are options traders, will they trade options, will they subscribe, and all is a secondary question. But at least there's a lot of brand recall value, right? So there is that benefit. Minus that, we have not had any kind of monetary benefit. Of course, brand recall, brand equity, trust, doing the right thing. Uh, but no, we haven't had any. Like, to answer the question point blank, did we get any money out of it? Maybe indirectly, because generally we trended a lot more people talked about it. Somebody must have heard maybe person A, like Ram and Sham were talking. Ram is like, अबे यार तूने देखा क्या verified by sensible आया है मेरा. And Sham is like, verified by sensible वो क्या है? अरे sensible करके एक कंपनी है, तूने नहीं देखा? What is sensible? वो option trading platform. अच्छा मैं भी option trade करता हूँ, चलो let me see it. Maybe that has happened, but no direct monetary benefit. Does that
Very
answer your
nice,
question?
Abel. Thank you for answering that question. And
No
I
problem.
would like to place some tips on the as of now, since you don't make any revenue, I would just put बताओ कितना लगाने का है, just to take one, let's say 0.01% of your company.
Thank you for that vote of trust.
Absolutely.
We'll take a couple of more last questions because we've hit the 8:15 mark. I'll just see who is right now the speaker. Uh, we have Abhishek. Ganesh is up, and we'll take Sagar also. Sagar is our last speaker. Ganesh and Sagar are our last speakers. Ganesh, if you want, you can go ahead.
Hi.
I think Ganesh just dropped off.
Hi.
So
Yeah.
Sagar, you.
So, Abid, thank you for hosting this.
Yep.
And, I look at your videos on YouTube every day, so I follow you. But one more thing, one question I had is that would you be able to, give an API which can proxy your broker's API? Because one is the broker's API, but on top of that, kind of a decorator thing would be something like getting option Greeks, like all the option Greeks I can have. So that is what I would be looking forward to, if that is possible. And I have one more question, but I'll let you answer this one.
Yeah, please. So we are evaluating this, right? See, the thing is, as a product company, one of the first things we have to look at is every time a feature request is raised, how many people really want this, right? And we still don't know what is the number of people who want us to expose a math API for personal consumption. So the answer is we are still looking at it, but our original architecture was not to expose APIs. It was for internal consumption to our product. So that restriction is there still. So we don't know if we get a critical amount of user requests for this. We'll be very happy to look at it because ultimately, that's also business, right? But till that point, we are still evaluating. Are there enough people looking for this? Hello, Sagar, and you wanted to ask something else.
Is there a problem
Sagar.
at my end? Because I cannot
Yeah,
hear anybody.
Sagar, we can hear you now.
Anup, were you able to hear me?
Yeah, I could hear the both of you.
Hello, Anup?
Yeah, hello.
Anup, you're on mute.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me now?
Hello.
Hello.
Or is it my internet?
Hello.
Hello.
Abid, I can hear you.
Hello. Is that my internet or something else? Anup, you are on mute for some reason.
Hello. Hello.
Sagar is on mute also.
Can you hear me now? Okay, so I think people are saying they can hear the both of us.
That's very weird. Hello. Prashant, can you hear me?
Hello.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Hi,
Sorry.
very good
I
evening,
can.
everyone.
Hey, Prashant, 1 second. Sorry, Sagar, you went on mute for some reason, I think.
Cannot hear anything.
Oh, there's some
Hello.
audio issue at your end, I think, because our team can hear both of you. I think, Prashant, you can answer your question.
Hi, everyone. Very thanks for giving the
Hello.
opportunity. Abid, I have
Hey,
a question for you. Can we have a opportunity like option strategy part one is like free, like Opstrat they are providing on free, like okay.
sorry, could you repeat that, please?
I'm just saying कि जैसे now Opstra and everyone is providing like free strategy builder part.
Yeah.
Can you give that part free? Because I have a
Uh,
number of user and I have a number of students even mine. They ask कि Sensible has a very good interface, but still that part is paid, and they say कि sir क्या वो free नहीं हो सकता? Yes, it can, but it's just a part of business.
So I'll tell you the answer to that, right?
Yeah.
So there is a difference between monetization models
Uh-huh.
between us and most others, right?
Exactly.
And the difference in monetization model is that, see, every time you're using a platform, so I don't know about any individual platform, but this is a pattern we have
Mm-hmm.
noticed. Most platforms do get a small cut of, so either they are owned by broking companies directly or indirectly, or major cut or something, and they get some kind of a funding from the broker themselves. The second could be that every time somebody trades through that platform, they get a small percentage of the trading revenue that the broker generates, right? Now, we looked at both, and our problem was that, see, if I take money from a broker, my incentives are aligned with the broker. If I take money as a percentage of revenue share every time a user trades, then my incentive is to make the user trade more and more, right? So, because of this particular reason, although several brokers in our early stages, not Zerodha, sorry, many other brokers told us, ki, okay, why if you can make our clients trade more through suggesting strategies and etc etc, we'll be very happy to give you a percentage of the revenue that they give us. We decided explicitly to go against that, because the moment we take that share, right,
Yes, got your point. Means we are
then
not onto the
my
making the
incentive is
brokerage.
to make them trade more. So the only revenue source for us whatsoever is the subscription revenue we have, and nothing else, right? We don't take any money from the broker. In fact, except Zerodha, all our brokers, we have to share some revenue with them. In the sense, every time somebody buys a sensible plan, other brokers take anywhere between 30 and 50% of our revenue, right?
Okay,
But
okay.
because when we entered, yeah, and unfortunately, most of these broking agreements were forged in 2018, 19, and 20 when we were really tiny, right? So we were tiny, we kind of got bullied into agreeing to terms
It's not a
which we
game.
don't agree to now.
Yeah,
So, which is why we can't really do things for free, and in a way it's a good thing, right? Because it makes us accountable. Because a person who trades seriously, for them,
yeah,
if they
exactly.
pick up a 1 year plan, $500 a month is hardly anything.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
which is why we are keeping it paid. So, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
No worries. No worries. So that hits us to our 8:20 mark. I don't think we can
Yeah.
take another question. Uh, so, uh,
Thanks for the
so
opportunity and
this
have a
is.
good night.
Thanks, Prashant. Thanks, Prashant. So this is wonderful. This is the first time I'm speaking in a Twitter space. Anup is our social media person. Anup is like, Anup, how old are you, man? You're not 25 yet, right?
No, I'm 21.
Hello. Anup, you're
Hello.
on mute. But anyway, Anup is like a very enterprising young person who is part of Sensible. He's the one who's doing all the memes on social media handles of Sensible. Not my my Twitter. Of course, all the memes are mine. But Anup does a lot of memeing on our social media handles. Anup manages our YouTube, Twitter, etc. Anup wanted to do this Twitter space, and thanks to Anup, we have this. So Anup, thank you for taking the initiative and pushing me to do this on a Sunday evening. And it's a lot of fun, right? I've never been on a Twitter space speaking before. I've never hosted one before. It's really nice to do this. Beautiful questions, and thankfully very civil discussion. So thank you, everybody. We'll probably try to do some more spaces in the coming few months on Sunday evenings about some topic that might be relevant at that stage. So once again, thank you all for this for being here. Have a wonderful Sunday evening. Bye.